If he goes there rashly, he will definitely encounter unexpected dangers. After these people had played enough, they flew towards the depths of the empty island. Luffy was very curious and asked, "Uncle, we have all come to the Sky Island now, why are we still flying in the sky?" He really wanted to drive on this sea of clouds. In that case, he would be able to fish at that time. If we were driving on the sea of clouds, it would be easy to be discovered by those people on the empty island. What happens when you find out? If we were found, we would have to pay an expensive entry fee, 100,000 Baileys per person. So much. When Yuan Jie said this, these people were very surprised. For a money fan like Nami, this is simply a money grab. It's not too expensive. If you leave the country, the cost will be even more expensive. Then we are still flying in the sky. At this time, Nami immediately felt that it was better to fly in the sky. "Uncle, what if we don't pay?" "If we don't pay, we can go in, but we will be arrested. If we are caught, we will pay more." Yuan Jie told them about it. The people on these empty islands are really dark. Nami also sighed at this time. "Have you seen the door in front of you? There is a gatekeeper there, we better not be discovered by the other party." For Yuan Jie's appearance, Crocodile was very contemptuous at that time. This guy is 5 emperors, and he is still so stingy. On this empty island, it is still sneaky. Yuan Jie sneaked the boat to see that place. After arriving at that place, Yuan Jie used the domineering arrogance, and then stunned the other party. After stunned by an old granny, then visited this place. Crocodile was also completely speechless, because this guy actually used the domineering arrogance to do such a thing, which made him feel very speechless. "Uncle, why don't we visit this town?" Luffy asked curiously. "Let's wait and visit. Let's go hunting for gold," Yuan Jie proposed at this time. After Yuan Jie said this, they immediately stopped talking about it. Hearing this, these people all look eager to try. They were very excited one by one, even Crocodile was very excited at this time. They were looking for the legendary Golden City, and they felt very excited just thinking about it. But what happened next left them speechless. Because the so-called treasure hunt is to arrest the gods of this place, and then torture them with words and deeds. "Where is the gold? If you don't say it, I will throw you into the empty sea to feed the empty shark," Yuan Jie threatened at this time. At this time, the one who claimed to be Analu was arrested by Yuanj and was being tortured by Yuanj. The other people's eyes widened one by one at this time. Especially Crocodile, because such treasure hunts don't need to be explored by themselves. At the beginning, this Analuna claimed to be a god, and called Yuanj and the others Qinghai monkeys. However, after this guy was beaten by Yuan Jie, this guy begged for mercy. Later also told them about the golden ship. This guy is too fierce. Crocodile couldn't help sighing at this time. Crocodile was really convinced at this time. He was very fortunate at this time that Yuan Jie chose him as his partner. If it wasn't for this, his consequences would definitely be more tragic. Analu also did not expect that these people are so savage. Love when Analu told these people about his golden boat, he only felt that his heart was bleeding. Because it was hard work. However, money is not as important as life, so he had to tell the other party about his golden ship. When they saw the golden ship, their eyes widened one by one. This guy actually built a golden ship out of gold. When she saw this golden ship, Nami's eyes just lit up. After looking at the ship, Yuan Jie sighed secretly at this time. Only such a ship is worthy of the strongest pirate group in their world. "Boy, not bad. We like my boat very much, so we will accept it." Yuan Jie patted Analu on the shoulder and said. 33. The ability to defy the sky. What do you want to say? Is it that the previous taste was really too good to suffer? Do you want to suffer again? I didn't mean that. I think this boat is very suitable for you, Analu said to these people at this time. Being threatened by Yuanj, Analu immediately swallowed her previous words. As long as you let me go, I can drive this ship off. You can't go on like this. At this time, Analu and Yuan-Jie began to discuss the conditions. Because in Analu's view, this ship was designed by himself. This is a ship that can fly, and only its own thunder fruit can make this golden ship fly. Really? I built this ship myself. I have the ability to thunder and lightning, only I can drive this ship away, other people can't drive it away. As long as you let me go, I will definitely take this ship away. Let the ship go. At this time, Analu had a confident look on his face. In this regard, the other people sneered. Because this guy is so self-righteous. Almost all of them came floating all the way, and their boats were just ordinary boats, and they didn't need to be like this at all. Believe it or not, if you don't agree to my conditions, even if I die, I will not drive this ship away. At this time, Analu had an expression on his face. Yuan-Jie didn't say anything, and then let the gold float up. When Analu saw such a scene, he couldn't believe it. How did you make this ship fly? Analu was stupid at this time, but at this time he was even more desperate. Because that means he can't escape the clutches of these guys. After Yuan-Jie got the boat, he relied on Momoguo's ability to make the boat bigger. Seeing this, Nami's eyes lit up. Ya did not expect this uncle to have such an ability. The opponent can multiply objects. Then if the gold is multiplied, it is simply a lot of wealth. After thinking about this, Nami seemed to see a road to become the richest person in the world waiting for her. At this time, his eyes were full of money. Nami, what's the matter with you? Seeing Nami like this, Luffy asked curiously. The reason why Yuan-Jie made the boat bigger is because there are two giants behind it. It would be a little too shabby to have them in such a ship. Luffy, let's separate here. I also got my own ship. As for the gold on this ship, you can move as much as you can. And there is a huge golden bell on the top of the mountain. Yuan-Jie said to Luffy and the others at this time. Uncle, you have the ability to make things bigger, just make this thing bigger. At this time, Nami took out a piece of gold and said to Yuan-Jie. Hearing this, Yuan-Jie thought that there was still such a rude operation. Although he does not have a golden fruit, he now possesses the ability of Momo fruit, and the ability of this devil fruit can be multiplied. If a piece of gold is turned into a large piece of gold by yourself, then you will make a lot of money. With such a terrific ability, he will not be short of money in the future. At this time, Yuan-Jie only hated why he hadn't thought of such an operation. Then I wouldn't sell the devil fruit because I have no money. A piece of Nami's gold directly turned into a lump of gold. Nami was excited to see it. Then Nami gave Yuan-Jie all the gold on the boat, and let Yuan-Jie double the gold. Luffy even gave Yuan-Jie a banknote, but the money did not increase, but turned into a huge banknote. At this time, Nami didn't know what to say. Then, Nami doubled the gold on the boat to Yuan-Jie. Then, Luffy and the others suddenly had a lot of gold on them. Seeing such a scene, Nami made Nami happy. So much that this guy didn't hear Yuan-Jie's departure. Yuan-Jie doubled the gold he gave, which made Luffy and his party a lot of wealth. Yuan-Jie has no guilt for these people at this time. Uncle, are you really leaving? At this time, Luffy was pure-hearted, obviously not as greedy for money as they were. You have your own path to follow. If we follow you all the time, it will be difficult for you to grow. So it's time for us to leave and you can shine. When Luffy heard this, he didn't say much at this time. Because Yuan-Jie is right. Because of their existence, they are usually the ones to deal with. Those guys are basically something that they can't deal with. As for what they can deal with, they are directly scared away by these guys. Nami finally heard it at this time. What? Are you going? Let's say goodbye to you right here. Yuan-Jie said to Nami. That uncle, can I come with you? My sailing skills are very good. If you are short of a wife, I don't mind. I can even give you monkeys. At this time, Nami showed a charming look on her face. Seeing this, Yuan-Jie didn't know what to say at this time. Nami really admires Yuan-Jie at this time. Not to mention that the other party saved them in Kokoja village, the other party's strength is still so powerful. The most important thing is that the other party still has such an ability to defy the sky. Then there will be no shortage of money. When Sanji heard this, he was very sad at this time, because the goddess in his mind was going to marry such a greasy uncle. You and the guy, you're not handsome, why does Nami like you greasy guy, I'm going to duel with you. Sanji pointed at Yuan-Jie's nose and cursed at this time. If it wasn't for the other people to stop him, Sanji would have to fight Yuan-Jie desperately. Nami, just follow these guys. If you are short of money, you can find me at that time. Yuan-Jie said to the other party at this time. Apparently Nami disagrees. My opponent's strength is something you guys can't fight against, so just follow them, and you will definitely become an excellent navigator by then. After Yuan-Jie said this, Nami was also a little depressed at this time. However, since the other party said so, Nami had to agree. Yuan-Jie breathed a sigh of relief at this time, because he really had nothing to do with the little girl in front of him. Seeing this, Sanji felt better at this time. As for Enel, that's really stupid. Because he didn't expect that this guy has such ability, it's really against the sky. 34, and the Straw Hat Pirates respectively, please recommend. Crocodile looked at Yuan-Jie greedily, because in Crocodile's eyes, the other party was a money maker. Then, these guys held a banquet to send off Yuan-Jie and the others. Of course, the food is the empty shark in this empty sea. There are many empty sharks in this space. Then, after the banquet, it was parting. These people are very reluctant to give up Yuan-Jie. Because Yuan-Jie helped them a lot along the way, and gave them a lot of things. I will definitely become the Pirate King. I will definitely become the most powerful swordsman. I will also become the most powerful navigator. Ellipsis ellipsis ellipsis. Then they got on the golden ship. Along with them was Anilu. Lao Sha, you must take good care of this guy. Yuan-Jie told Crocodile at this time. That captain, just kill this kid, why keep this guy? In this regard, Crocodile was very puzzled at this time, and it would be incredible to kill him directly. Seeing how hungry and troublesome this guy is. Old Sha, do you know where this guy is from? Yuan-Jie raised such a question at this time. Didn't he come to this empty island? Crocodile was very puzzled at this time. He didn't come from the empty island, but from the moon. When Yuan-Jie said this, even Hokage, who was not far away, was surprised. He never thought that this guy was actually from the moon. There are people living on the moon. This is really incredible. You know how important this kid is. Yuan-Jie said to Crocodile at this time. What on earth is on the moon? Hokage came over at this time and asked very seriously. I don't know what's living on the moon. I only know that this guy is from the moon. If there is any secret on the moon, I will interrogate it from the mouth of that kid. Yuan-Jie only knew that this guy was from the moon, and he didn't know anything about other things. Yuan-Jie didn't plan to go to the moon at this time either. He didn't know what was on it, but he wanted to collect devil fruits. When the time comes, I will get some news out of Anilu's mouth, and then I can waste less time by going to the moon by myself. While Luffy and the others waved, Yuan-Jie's boat gradually left this place. As for the next thing, these guys need to overcome by themselves. Of course, without the navigator, Yuan-Jie was very depressed because he couldn't tell the direction. However, this guy Hokage still knows a little about sailing. Otherwise, it is impossible for this guy to go to the East China Sea alone. Yuan-Jie held a meeting and thought about his plans after following these guys away. Yuan-Jie thought of the ability of Momo fruit. He felt that he would not be short of money in the future. Because as long as you buy the gold nuggets yourself, multiply the gold nuggets, and then sell the gold nuggets, you can earn a large middle price. Yuan Jie feels that if he is like this, then he is not bad at all. Yuan Jie used to think that he could be a rich man. As for how to do it, of course, it is to buy devil fruits. Because the price of devil fruit is not low. But now Yuan Jie feels that he can be a world-class rich man. Since I am so rich now, I can find a place to buy devil fruits at a high price. In that case, I don't have to travel thousands of miles to find devil fruits. Yuan Jie suddenly had an idea. After thinking of this method, Yuan Jie was very excited. The only thing that is not bad for me is money. As long as I buy it at a high price, then I can stop looking for the devil fruit by myself. Things like so many people chasing and killing him won't happen again. Therefore, he won't get so many devil fruits all at once. The only way I can now is to buy it myself. After thinking about this, Yuan Jie has a new plan to start the evil dragon. Eagle Eye came over at this time, and asked Yuan Jie, "What are your plans in the future?" Because now Yuan Jie is the Emperor of the Sea, and his identity is not ordinary. Definitely can't sail like Luffy and the others. Because their actions are watched closely by the Navy. The Navy is watching every move of their menace. Yuan Jie can't sail, which means that Yuan Jie can't get devil fruit. I plan to make a few partners first, and then build the strongest pirate team. Yuan Jie said to Hokage at this time. Yuan Jie had already made such a plan. Because in Yuan Jie's view, he will definitely attack the Navy at that time. Because there are many devil fruit abilities in the Navy. And, of course, the Revolutionary Army. Because the Revolutionary Army also has a lot of devil fruit abilities. If he wants to collect all the devil fruits, he is doomed to be the enemy of these guys. I also want to find a place to buy devil fruits, so in that case, let's not look everywhere. Yuan Jie said to Hokage at this time. Hokage still knows a lot about Yuan Jie's proposal. Who the hell are you? After Hokage finished asking these questions, he came up with this sentence. Because in the eyes of the eagle, Yuan Jie knows too many things. In particular, Yuan Jie even knew about Crocodile's plan. He investigated Crocodile. The most curious thing is not this. What he is curious about is why Yuan Jie can use the power of so many devil fruits. This is simply incredible. You must know that it is impossible to eat 2 devil fruits. If you eat 2, your body will definitely explode. However, Yuan Jie used the powers of various devil fruits in front of him. This made Hokage puzzled. Haha, I'm Yuan Jie. I'm your captain now. Yuan Jie said to Hokage with a smile at this time. 35. Go to the Chambord Islands. Then he said to Hokage. I know you want to know why I have so many devil fruit abilities. I don't know that very well. I feel that as long as I have the ability of devil fruit, I can use it. I didn't know all this. Hearing this, Hokage didn't say anything more at this time. Yuan Jie began to think about the plot in one piece. After Luffy came down from the empty island, he arrived at the G8 base, then he met the Foxy Pirates, he met the Seahorse, then he met the Green Pheasant, and then he went to the capital of water. Yuan Jie began to think about whether he could get some devil fruits. Yuan Jie plans to go to the Chambord Islands, where he wants to open a shop to buy devil fruits. Because that place is very lively. And there are a lot of pirates coming and going there. That said, the place is also very dangerous. Because that's where Mary Joa is, and the world government is right there. There are often Navy and Dragon people patronize there. Of course Yuan Jie wouldn't be afraid of those guys. And Yuan Jie has imitation fruit. When the time comes, I can imitate a Tianlong person. At this time, Yuan Jie can only hope that he will encounter some more devil fruits on the way to the Chambord Islands. Yuan Jie felt that he was going to pay more for that guy Mo Li, because that guy had a group of devil fruit capable people. Then Yuan Jie started heading towards the Chambord Islands. At this time, Yuan Jie still had to think about who he was looking for. Because now there are only 5 people here, this person is too few. I want to build the strongest pirate group myself. Although I can't give birth like the ant, maybe I can recognize a few sons like Whitebeard. Well, this is not as old as the other party, who would want to be my son. Yuan-Jie also laughed at himself at this time. If I know there will be such a day, then I will find something to prepare. Yuan-Jie began to regret that he was too low-key before. If I had been a little more high-profile before, I didn't know how many devil fruits I would get, and I wouldn't be as miserable as I am now. He is in his 30s or 40s now, and the world for him is not very much. Yuan-Jie had to race against time at this time. Because he didn't know how long it would take to collect all the devil fruits in this world. Because Yuan-Jie also knows that some people are very low-key even if they have devil fruit abilities. Just like Abis and Ayu. It's hard to know if you don't meet people. Obviously, Yuan-Jie is not the kind of person with very good luck. He didn't meet that Foxy. As for the person with the hot fruit ability, he didn't seem to have encountered it either, which made Yuan-Jie feel very depressed. Moonlight Molly should meet you. Yuan-Jie after this meeting is also speculated. However, Moonlight Molly had already run away, and he was no longer in this foggy sea. You must know that Yuan-Jie has the strength of a sea emperor, and Yuan-Jie has already subdued Hokage and Crocodile. Therefore, in the eyes of Navy and Morley, this Yuan-Jie is expected to do it on its own. So he didn't dare to stay in this place immediately. He just hid at the Marine Headquarters Marine Vando. The Navy didn't say anything about Molly's arrival, because in the view of the Navy, if Yuan-Jie took Moonlight Molly as his subordinate, then they would be in trouble. Yuan-Jie came to the Sea of Mist, but there was nothing here. This made Yuan-Jie extremely depressed. Yuan-Jie was very depressed at this time. Because he has not encountered other pirates at all these days. The other pirates seem to have evaporated from the world. As for why this happened, it was because Yuan-Jie was an executioner among these pirates, and the other party killed so many pirates. Of course, the main reason is that the opponent's strength is too terrifying. If you encounter it yourself, you will die. Once, those pirates in this piece did not dare to be presumptuous at all. At this time, some of them did not drive here, and some pirates reached this navy, which was frightening. They can't wait to leave this place immediately. Therefore, strictly these days, I can only interrogate this guy Enelu about the things on the moon. Yuan-Jie didn't even receive a devil fruit along the way. This made Yuan-Jie extremely depressed. It seems that people are afraid of being famous and pigs are afraid of being strong. Now that I am famous, no one is here to trouble me. Yuan-Jie not only sighed with emotion. How much he hoped at this time to have someone who likes to die and come to trouble him. Apparently no one dared such a thing. Because in their view, it is simply a life-threatening game. The current Yuan-Jie is the Emperor of the Sea. If he tries to provoke the other party, he will simply be courting death. Of course, Yuan-Jie doesn't want to meet a pirate without devil fruit. Because in Yuan-Jie's view, the good thing about not having devil fruit is that you are playing a rogue, and you won't get anything if you win. It seems, my identity is still too conspicuous. I want to change my identity. Yuan-Jie also immediately thought of this at this time. Yuan-Jie remembered that he plundered Feng Kelle's imitation fruit. You can imitate others by yourself, and in this case, you can keep a low profile as always. Only in this way, Yuan-Jie feels that he can obtain the devil fruit. 36. Crocodile exposes the nature of women. Chasing is more difficult, add more. Hey, do you still want to eat? Can't you come to help? Crocodile said in a bad mood at this time. Because of the reason they left the pirates, Sanji stopped making things for them. Now this important figure is handed over to Crocodile. Of course, this did not bother Crocodile. What troubled him was that there were two giants behind him. Of course, if Yuan-Jie didn't rely on Momoguo's ability, Crocodile might collapse. If he hadn't had a handle on the opponent's hand, he wouldn't have ended up like this. Crocodile said very rudely at this time. Forget it. I won't eat it. You can eat it alone. Then only Yuan Ji's voice could be heard from outside. Hearing this, Crocodile at this time only felt very strange. Because they haven't eaten for a long time. Now these people say they won't eat if they don't eat, which makes Crocodile very happy. If it is really to be done, these two giants must be indispensable. That would be very troublesome. Crocodile was quick to do his part. This guy originally wanted to eat in it, but he thought of Yuan Ji's face. He was still very unconvinced in his heart. Therefore, he felt that he had to eat in front of the other side. Because look at this guy's reaction. Although this guy is amazing, but people are iron, rice and steel, and they will be very hungry if they don't eat for a day. No matter how powerful he is, can't he eat? When he went out, he watched these guys eat with delight. What kind of situation is this? Seeing these guys look like this, Crocodile at this time was very confused. How did this guy eat it? This confuses Crocodile. However, at this time, Crocodile was very angry. Because these people are too different. He didn't even tell himself that he had something to eat, which made him work so hard. Why don't you tell me you have something to eat? Do you know how difficult it is for me to cook that meal? Crocodile said in a bad mood at this time. You were already making this when we got it. You didn't make our portion either, so we're just going to have this. Yuan Ji said to Crocodile at this time. Hearing this, Crocodile was very depressed. If you follow what the other party says, you only think about it when the other party does it. This is too fast. Bastards. You guys hide what you eat and don't tell me. Crocodile quickly thought that it was probably that Analu was hiding in the ship. After thinking of this, Crocodile at this time looked at Analu, who was being held in annoyance. Because this kid hid something on the upper limit of the boat and didn't even tell himself. Seeing this, at this time, Annalena was also depressed. Boy, you still have something hidden on this boat, tell me honestly if you do good deeds. Clodar said to Analu with a ferocious look. This crocodile has been in this world for so long, so his appearance is also very ferocious. Analu was naturally not intimidated by the other party, but was afraid of the interrogation of these people. That is really not something that a person can bear, even a god like him cannot. These things have nothing to do with me. Then where did the things they eat come from? Could it not have fallen from the sky? Crocodile put down the food in his hand and said angrily. Where did they come from? I really don't know. Analu said with a bitter expression at this time. Because he really didn't know, he was awakened by these scents. After he woke up, Yuanj handed him something to eat, and then he started to eat. Seeing this guy like Analu like this, Crocodile said secretly in his heart. Looking at the other party like this, it is obvious that the other party does not know where the food comes from. Then, Crocodile said to Yuanjie angrily, Yuanjie, where did you say you got this thing? Why don't you tell me why you eat it? For Yuanj, Crocodile was very dissatisfied. Not only because now, he was threatened by the other party to come to the ship. I didn't tell you, I just found out when you were doing it. What the hell, you just tell me where all this food came from. Crocodile questioned. These were made by me through the power of devil fruits. Yuanjie explained to the other party at this time. Isn't your devil fruit able to fly and make objects bigger? Your devil fruit still has such ability, don't you say that your devil fruit is an omnipotent fruit? Crocodile didn't quite believe what Yuanj said, because in Crocodile's view, Yuanj's devil fruit seems to already possess the abilities of several devil fruits. How can there be such power now? Obviously, the other party has something to hide from himself. You're really right, my devil fruit is really an omnipotent fruit. My devil fruit not only has this, but also other abilities. This is just one of my devil fruit abilities. Yuanjie said to the other party. As for why Yuanj has so many devil fruit abilities, that's because there are many classes of devil fruits in the Yuanj system. Yuanj can get the devil fruit with non-stop abilities by switching the interface. That's why Yuan-Jie has the ability to have so many devil fruits. Regarding Yuan-Jie's remarks, in Crocodile's view, Yuan-Jie was clearly lying to him. He thought it was Yuan-Jie who estimated that he died because he colluded with this Anilu to get angry at himself. These foods are actually on this boat, but these guys hid those things. He didn't argue with Yuan-Jie at this time. As for the fight, Crocodile was definitely not Yuan-Jie's opponent. Of course, Crocodile was extremely disappointed at this time. He wanted these guys who wanted to cook by himself to watch him eat, but he didn't expect that this guy would actually have something to eat. Now that you say that, then I will hide your food. Then see how tough you are. Crocodile said secretly in his heart at this time. He really hoped that Yuan-Jie would be embarrassed. Yuan-Jie could never have imagined that Crocodile, who looked grim from the outside, was actually such a heart. Unexpectedly, this guy pretended to be like that in front of outsiders. Yuan-Jie also sighed at this time. Seeing Yuan-Jie's refusal to admit it, Crocodile was thinking in his heart at this time. If I find that thing, hide it, and see what that guy will say at that time. Because Yuan-Jie was so quibble, that just gave himself a suitable reason. After thinking of this, Crocodile at this time began to look inside the ship. 37. All-purpose fruit. Crocodile feels like a thief. Naturally, Yuan-Jie didn't know that Crocodile still had such careful thoughts. He only felt that this Crocodile wanted to steal gold. That's old sand. If you want my gold, don't be embarrassed, I don't lack this stuff now. Don't act like a thief. I don't really care about Yuan songs like this gold or something. If it was before, he might still care. Although he doesn't have golden fruit now, Yuan-Jie now has Momo fruit. As long as he makes the gold bigger, then he can have a lot of wealth. Therefore, it is a complete lack of gold for him. Just buy a piece of gold and make it bigger. It's that simple. Yuan-Jie is still very grateful to Nami. Because he never noticed it before. Of course, this made him very regretful. If he knew it before, he would definitely not sell the devil fruit to maintain his life. After hearing Yuan-Jie's words, Crocodile was very angry. Are you that kind of person? Although he likes money very much, he is a very generous person. If you need money, you will definitely ask the other party to ask for it without hesitation. But now, his purpose is not as Yuan-Jie said. Don't worry, if I want money, I'll definitely ask you for it unceremoniously. Do you think I, Crocodile, are the kind of person who likes to gossip? Crocodile said angrily. I think so. However, Yuan-Jie gave the Crocodile this answer. This left Crocodile not knowing what to say. After saying this, Yuan-Jie went on to ask, if you're not like that, what are you doing? Crocodile is also a person who has been in the sea for so long. When asked by the other party, Crocodile immediately replied, of course I will take a look at this ship, because this ship is very difficult. Of course, Yuan-Jie is not a fool, of course he didn't believe in the nonsense of Crocodile. However, he can do whatever he wants, as long as the ship is not torn down. Watching Crocodile's receding back. At this time, Yuan-Jie also secretly sighed in his heart. Although this old Shah has become a man now, in front of other people, he is cold and arrogant, but he still can't change his woman's clever personality. Yuan-Jie thought about it for a long time. Of course, he thought of a lot of messy things. For example, is this old sand a man or a woman? Because the original plot didn't explain it. Of course, Yuan-Jie felt that the other party was estimated to be a she-male. And it's still a female she-male, otherwise, Ivankov is just a she-male, and the guys under him are all she-males. As for Crocodile, he basically turned the whole ship over. But no food was found. This puzzled him too. Is there anything? Is that guy hiding what he eats so secretly? This guy really doesn't trust me. Crocodile said fiercely at this time. Forget it. When frightening a meal, see where this guy hides his food. The next day, at dawn, Crocodile shouted Yuanj to eat. Seeing Crocodile like this, Yuanj was very speechless. Because you used to be a king in the 7 martial seas in the past, isn't it good for you to have the aura of being a big pirate? Because Yuanj felt that Crocodile was a foodie at this time. It's not that Crocodile really will starve to death if he doesn't eat, but he wants to know where Yuanj gets to eat. Okay, who told me I didn't have a crew? Yuanj sighed helplessly at this time. Then, Crocodile saw Yuanj break off one of his fingers. Seeing such a scene, Crocodile felt very cruel at this time. After breaking off that finger, Yuanji's hand did not bleed. Seeing such a scene, Crocodile was stunned. What kind of situation is this? He asked like a curious baby. Yuanj did not answer Crocodile's question. Then, Yuanj enlarged his finger. Is so much okay? Yuanj asked Crocodile at this time. What kind of situation is this? Crocodile asked very puzzled, because he wants to eat. This guy self-harmed. It seems that he is completely incompatible with himself if he wants to eat, okay. However, this crocodile was very smart, and he quickly thought of something. Are you going to give me this to eat? Crocodile said in disbelief. Yeah, isn't your brain very smart? Why did you think of it now? I thought you knew it long ago. Yuanj originally thought that Crocodile knew it, but he didn't expect that this guy didn't know. And this guy is so surprised, it feels like he has never seen the world. Thinking of this, Crocodile felt uncomfortable. Because he turned the boat over several times yesterday, but found nothing, which made Crocodile think about it for a long time last night. But he never thought that this guy was actually holding a pair of fingers for himself to eat. Of course Crocodile knew what Yuanj was doing. The opponent is a devil fruit such as the food type in the nature type. He can transform his body into something like that. And its own rustling fruit is a principle. It's just that oneself is sand, and the others is food. After Yuanj doubled that finger, he handed his big finger to Crocodile. As for Yuanji's broken finger, a new finger soon grew. When looking at that finger, it just feels terrifying. I feel like a man-eating guy. However, this crocodile is obviously very bold. He took that finger directly and ate it. How is it? Yuanj asked at this time. Very good. Crocodile replied. While eating, Crocodile generally asked. You weren't another type of devil fruit before, why did you come up with something like this? This kind of ability should only be found in the food department in the nature department. Don't you have other abilities? In this regard, Crocodile was very puzzled. He knew that a person could not eat 2 devil fruits. If you eat 2 devil fruits, there will be 2 devils living in your body. The 2 demons would fight, and then their body would explode and die. The opponent had previously shown that it was not a food-type devil fruit, but now, why does this guy have such an ability, which makes him very puzzled? Didn't you say that my devil fruit is an omnipotent fruit? I thought you already knew it. Yuanj said to the other party at this time. Universal fruit. 38. Angry at Crocodile. Is there really such a fruit? Dongli asked curiously at this time. I don't know very well either. If the captain has such ability, then there must be such a devil fruit. Brokey answered at this time. For the other party, the omnipotent devil fruit, Crocodile was very disbelieving. He didn't believe the other party's nonsense, and the other party was fooling himself at first sight. Impossible. What devil fruit did you eat? Crocodile was very curious. I didn't tell you. Yuanj said impatiently at this time, because at this time Yuanj didn't want to leak this secret. He trusted Hokage so much that he told the other party. As for this crocodile is obviously not an honest person, and the other party is still very reluctant to stay on his own ship. If he didn't know the other party's little secret, the other party would have slipped away long ago. HMPH. Don't think you can fool me. It's okay for you to fool other people, but if you want to fool me, Crocodile, you have to wait a few years. At this time, Crocodile looked like an old man, as if he knew everything. What did you call me? Tell me the truth. Crocodile was arrogant at this time. If I don't say it, are you still going to do something to me? Yuan Ji's tone changed obviously at this time. Hearing this, Crocodile at this time thought of Yuan's strength. After thinking of this, Crocodile did not continue. The other party is someone who cannot be offended by himself. And the other party also holds his own little secret. After thinking of this, Crocodile fainted, and then asked no more questions. Then he could only vent his anger on that one finger. Because in his opinion, that thing is equivalent to Yuan. After taking a few bites, Crocodile suddenly thought of something. Then immediately vomited. Seeing the other party like this, Yuan felt very curious at this time. What is the situation on the other side? I feel like I've given each other a drug. However, he was completely unmedicated. What's the matter with you? After vomiting for a while, Crocodile's face was black like the bottom of a pot. Crocodile stared fiercely at Yuan, and then asked sharply, "Did you go to the toilet just now?" "Yes." "Then you didn't seem to wash your hands when you went to the toilet just now." At this time, Crocodile was like a policeman interrogating prisoners. Yuan scratched his head, and then who said to the other party very clearly, "I don't remember very much about this matter." "Bastard, you just didn't wash your hands." At this time, Crocodile scolded angrily. Then, dry vomit. He felt as if he had eaten shang. No, he felt like he ate that thing at this time. Because that guy Yuan didn't wash his hands when he went to the toilet just now. Then Owen is going to wash his hands, and then get you to eat. Yuan said, and then broke towards the toilet of the ship. Hearing this, Crocodile was gnashing his teeth at this time, because this guy is really an asshole. Asshole. After scolding, Crocodile retched. As for Hokage's decoction until his death, it seems that all these things have nothing to do with him. Soon, Yuan came back after washing his hands. Of course, at this time Crocodile also retched. He waited fiercely for Yuan with 2 eyes, feeling that Yuan was his father's enemy. "Bastard, you gave me your unwashed hands to eat." Crocodile angrily said. Now he can't wait to slash the guy in front of him. Because this kid is so nasty. Didn't I wash my hands now? At this time, Yuan also said angrily to the other party. When he heard the other party's rebuttal, it made Crocodile even more angry. At this time, he was so angry that his lungs almost exploded at the words of the other party. But you didn't wash your hands just now, and I vomited that thing. At this time, Crocodile had already lost his usual grim appearance, as if he was a shrew. Then you didn't vomit, didn't you? At this time, Yuan still retorted relentlessly. When Crocodile heard this, he was really furious. At this time, he has a desperate posture with Yuan, but he also knows that he is definitely not the perverted opponent in front of him. Even if he does it himself, he can't be the opponent's opponent. And it's not that you have to eat in the morning. Weak, if you want to eat in a hurry, I won't give you breakfast without washing your hands. Yuan said that he couldn't afford the other party's appearance. After saying this, he said provocatively to Crocodile. If you are really unconvinced, I will fight against you, and if I lose, it's up to you. At this time, Yuan said to Crocodile very curiously. When Crocodile heard this, it was very dissatisfied. Because the other party is obviously bullying himself. If you really fight, how can you be the opponent's opponent? Of course he wouldn't agree to the other party's request. He didn't say anything about eating the other party's breakfast without going to the toilet. When he was beaten by the other party, he would naturally feel even more aggrieved. At this time, Crocodile could only stare at Yuan with 2 eyes. This is all he can do at this time. Yuan also didn't know what to say about the other party's appearance. If the other party argues with him, he will definitely argue. However, the other party is in the same hormonal state, so it is impossible to look at the other party in the same way. Yuan-Jie didn't feel that way. Crocodile just kept staring at Yuan-Jie. Under Hawkeye's instructions, they were getting closer and closer to the Chambord Islands at this time. At this time, Eagle Eye said to Yuan-Jie, "The Chambord Islands are in front of you, and that is where the world government exists. What are your plans? Go to the Great Root or do something else." When Yuan-Jie heard this, he thought for a while, and then replied, "I think I'm going to spend some time on the Chambord archipelago." "What are your plans?" "Of course I'm following you. If you're going to stay in this place, then I'll go back," Hawkeye said to the other party at this time. Obviously, they can't go together. You must know that their current identities are not ordinary. They are now the focus of the Navy to observe each other. Their every move is being watched by the naval officer. 39. The world has evaporated, one more. Of course, they are an exception. Because the Navy could not find their traces at this time. Other people's boats fly on the sea, but these guys fly on the sky. So to these navies, these guys are just playing missing. It made these navies extremely depressed. Because since that war, they seem to have gone to the empty island, and these guys in the back seem to have disappeared. If these people really disappeared, the Navy would really feel better, but the life and death of these guys are now uncertain. This is also a headache for the Navy. These guys are very terrifying guys. If they walk around the world, the whole world will be turbulent. The other 4 emperors are under the surveillance of the Navy. If they have any major changes, it will definitely lead to the idea of the Navy. But now this group of guys has nothing to do with the Navy, and these guys are still the most popular guys recently. At the same time, the Navy also held an emergency meeting for these guys at this time. What do you think of this group of people? At this time, Warring States' face was very ugly. Because of Yuan-Jie, they also held several meetings, but the meetings obviously did not have a good effect. These guys were not at all restless. First they killed their Navy Colonel Mouse, and then there was such a big commotion. After such a big commotion, these people disappeared with their Navy. The Navy really doesn't know what to do with these guys. Their Navy has found out a lot of things, and this guy is the crew member of Roger's ship. The so-called curse on the Roger pirate ship is also related to the brewer who used to be on the Roger pirate ship. Anyone who fights the Roger pirates will lose their devil fruit powers. Now their admiral is also fighting against each other, and his devil fruit's ability has disappeared. Aokiji has no devil fruit, and his fighting is greatly reduced. This is undoubtedly a huge trauma for the Navy, because they lost a high-end combat force. Although Aokiji's devil fruit ability was taken away, Aokiji was not at all unhappy at this time. This guy is still the same as before, still so lazy. Of course, after this guy disappeared because of the devil fruit ability, the tasks assigned to Aokiji by the Warring States period also gradually decreased. He doesn't have the strength he had before, and he can't do many things. If you send this guy out, it will undoubtedly put this guy in danger. Of course, the Navy didn't say anything about it. If those guys knew about it, there would definitely be a lot of people to deal with Aokiji. Aokiji can be promoted to Admiral of the Navy. Naturally he has done a lot for the Navy. He caught a lot of pirates and wiped out a lot of pirate groups. Among these guys, there are fish that slip through the net. They are very resentful of Aokiji. If these guys know about it, they will definitely come to Aokiji to trouble them. In my opinion, we have to improve the strength of our Navy as much as possible. Aokiji is now seriously lacking in combat effectiveness, and he is no longer qualified as an admiral. You must know that admiral is the high-end combat power of the Navy, and this matter is very important. It will be spread out soon. If those abominable pirates know about this, they will be mad again. The person who spoke was a guy with a cigarette. This guy still had a rose pin to his chest. This guy is Akainu. Akainu said mercilessly at this time. Because he also knew that the Warring States period intended to promote Qingzi. Therefore, the relationship between him and Aokiji is very bad. Now Aokiji has such a situation, which he is very happy to see. Therefore, he only made such an opinion at this time. Hearing Akainu say this, Sengoku also asked curiously at this time, Akainu, then tell me your opinion. Marshal, I think we should start the recruitment of the world in advance. Through the recruitment, we can improve the combat effectiveness of our navy. And among these people, there are inevitably some very good guys. We can promote their official positions. Akainu made such an opinion at this time. For Akainu's suggestion, the Warring States period pondered for a while. Okay, I think this is a very good suggestion. In fact, the Warring States period had such an idea for a long time. This guy from the Warring States period has been the admiral of the navy for so long. If he has no brains, they can't just fight with the navy like this. What do you think about Yuanj disappearing? Warring States asked these people at this time. Because this is also the guy that their navy is very troubled by. Of course, the navy did not expect that this guy was hiding so deeply. This guy used to only tell the story of a small winemaker on the Roger pirate ship. I didn't expect this guy to have such a terrifying combat power now. This made them, the navy, startled. For Yuanj and the other navies, they also complained endlessly. This guy was so low-key before, but now this guy is so high-profile, which makes the navy very puzzled. Of course, this guy was a little too low-key before. Even as a member of the Roger Pirates, this guy is completely out of the scope of the navy's bounty. Therefore, at this time, they can only know the opponent's ability from the battle with Aokiji. Because in the battle with Qingzi, Yuanj used a lot of devil fruits. Therefore, when Qingzi described Yuanj's ability, it was very messy. Therefore, these guys didn't know much about the ability of the other party. However, the opponent defeated Qingzi in a few minutes, and they also knew that Yuanj's combat power was extraordinary. Even in the Warring States period, there is no possibility to defeat Aokiji so quickly. I have to say that the strength of this Yuanj is very strong, and it is not generally strong. At this time, Kizaru said with a smile, I have heard about the legend of the empty island. Maybe that empty island is real, but the other party is someone who has stayed on the Roger pirate ship, what he knows. There must be a lot of them. You must know that Roger's group has reached many mysterious places, even our navy doesn't know about it now. Garp was there at this time, but he was silent. Because I know that my grandson Luffy is fooling around with these guys. Although Luffy is now a pirate, he is still very worried about Luffy. That Yuanj was very powerful immediately, and the other party actually followed his grandson. From Garp's point of view, this guy must be plotting something. Yeah, that guy is very difficult. That guy just disappeared. I don't know where it will appear, so we can't have any slack now. 40. A variety of devil fruit abilities, 2 more. Crane spoke at this time. Qingzi, come and talk about this Yuanj in detail. What kind of person is he, and the details of the battle that day, please talk about it. Akainu said to Aokiji at this time, and this tone was more like an order from a superior. Aokiji is of course very unhappy with Akainu. If they weren't all admirals, this guy would have fought with this guy long ago. However, Aokiji is obviously not a very impulsive guy. These days, I have only carefully thought about the battle of the day. The opponent first flew, and then I froze the sea, and then the opponent fought with me. The opponent has a very powerful domineering, and the opponent can vibrate, shattered my ice cubes. Maybe the opponent borrowed a sword from Hokage for a quick fight. With the sword, the guy's speed also became very fast. The opponent's speed is too high, fast and powerful, that's why I was defeated so easily by the opponent. Aokiji began to recall the battle at this time. Although this exhibition was a bit long for Yuanj, the battle was very fast for Qingzi. How long have you been fighting with each other? Akainu continued to ask at this time. I fought the opponent for 5 or 6 minutes. Aokiji replied at this time. They only listened to Qingzi saying that their Yuanzhi's battle was very broken, but they didn't expect that he and Yuanzhi's battle would last for 5 or 6 minutes. Regarding the battle between Qingzi and Yuanzhi, they also listened to Qingzi's report in the phone bug. But I didn't expect it to be like this. Aokiji also just returned to the naval headquarters. Qing Pheasant is not like Yuanzhi and the others. It not only has fluttering fruit flying in the sky, but also Junjun fruit is a powerful driving force. That speed is naturally very fast. Aokiji and the others took a lot of effort to return to the naval headquarters. Qingzi, what do you think about this guy Yuanzhi? Warring States still wanted to see Qingzi's evaluation of Yuanzhi. You know, even the 4 emperors have very different personalities. For example, Kaido and Shanks are 2 completely different pirates. Although Shanks is very powerful in combat, he is not like Kaido. Kaido does not worry about the navy. Therefore, they still need to know a lot about this person in Yuanzhi. Such a guy must have a great threat. He poached our navy's Chiwahai, and he actually killed our navy colonel. If he kills it, he will kill him. He even asked our navy to write down that kind of guy. This is simply a provocation of our navy. We are the embodiment of justice, and we cannot tolerate such humiliation by these hateful guys. Akainu said at this time with great resentment. In his opinion, Yuanzhi is undoubtedly a vicious person. I did some research based on what those guys wrote. Just like the ones above, that Colonel Mouse really colluded with the pirate Aaron to oppress the local people. I guess that's the reason why that guy was born. Kill Colonel Mouse. Aokiji spoke out about his investigation at this time. He was very curious about what Smoker said, so he went to investigate. HMPH. Are these pirates good people? What qualifications do they have to evaluate these? They don't even look for a mirror to see what kind of virtue they have. Akainu is very dissatisfied with what Aokiji said, because he hates these pirates very much. What do you? Akainu said. Aokiji didn't say anything at this time. And, it was at this moment that Carp spoke. Warring States. Did you find this guy very strange? What's so strange about this guy? Crane also asked curiously at this time. Shouldn't this flying fruit be the ability of the Golden Lion Shiki? After the opponent fought Roger, that guy's ability disappeared. And the opponent can shake, it shouldn't be the guy with the white beard before. Ability. When I heard Carp say that. At this time, the expressions of all the people present were very ugly. Because they knew what Carp wanted to say. Cap, are you saying that this guy doesn't just make the power user's devil fruit ability disappear, but this guy can deprive the devil fruit ability? Warring States also asked at this time. When they heard that the Warring States Marshal said so, at this time the other people were also surprised to close their mouths. Of course, some people are also curious at this time. According to Garp, doesn't the other party possess the power of 2 devil fruits? You must know that a person cannot eat 2 devil fruits. Eating devil fruits is equivalent to letting a devil gather in his body. If he eats 2, the 2 devils will fight, and then the body will be destroyed. Will burst and die. At first, some people thought that by eating 1 devil fruit, they could obtain the ability of a devil fruit. If they eat a few more devil fruits, they will have the ability of multiple devil fruits. However, the thought is good, but the body will explode. Therefore, when the devil fruit person obtains the ability of another devil fruit, they dare not have any negligence. If they eat this devil fruit, it is tantamount to eating a bomb. After the Warring States said this, these people still couldn't believe it. Because this is so incredible. Not to mention the ability to plunder the devil fruit that defies the sky, it is very incredible to have the ability to have multiple devil fruits. It is very likely that the other party has the ability to capture devil fruits, but this is simply incredible. As for the other party's ability to have multiple devil fruits, I still don't believe it. The yellow monkey spoke at this time. He didn't believe it at all. After saying this, the yellow monkey said to the green pheasant at this time, Qingzi. Did you read it wrong? Aokiji wasn't angry with questions like Kizaru, because it was so unreasonable. Even he himself is very skeptical. He must have read it right, and Aokiji can be sure of this. I shouldn't have read it wrong. I have also made conjectures about these, and I also think it is very incredible. Aokiji replied at this time. I'm looting devil fruit in One Piece, chapter 41 to 60. 41. A major discovery. Kizaru thought for a while, and then said to Sengoku, we can't draw conclusions about this guy right now. I think we still need to observe a lot about the other party. As for whether the other party has the ability to plunder devil fruits, I think we just need to let Aokiji if you swim in the Dowhai. If the green pheasant is still a ground duck, then the opponent's devil fruit should not be deprived, maybe just the opponent's devil fruit ability has been sealed. The warring states were very satisfied with the proposal of the yellow monkey. If you jump to conclusions casually, you won't know what will happen by then. Therefore, for Yuanch, they can only observe now. This guy is obviously unusual. As soon as he comes out, he has the strength of the Emperor of the Sea. I think Kizaru's proposal is very good. We can only observe and observe more about Yuanch at this time. As for the Qingzi thing, we will see the situation later. This meeting is over. Sengoku said to these guys. The other lieutenant generals were all here to cheer. These guys just listened to the discussion of these big men. Although the meeting broke up, he did not leave. At this time, they followed the warring states and their group to the coast in front of Marine Fando. Because they want to know if all this is what they think it is. After arriving at the coast, Aokiji then walked towards the sea without any hesitation. For this sea water, Aokiji found at this time that no one seemed to have any reaction to himself. Aokiji, is there any reaction? Akainu clearly wanted to know the answer. Of course, part of it is because this guy is very curious, and part of it is of course because he wants to find out what is going on with his current competitor. Aokiji didn't say anything, and then he started to swim in the sea. After seeing such a scene, other people at this time were stunned. The green pheasants can swim in the sea, which means that the other party is no longer a land duck. Aokiji is now a normal person. Looking at such a situation, the warring states period at this time was helpless. Because this is undoubtedly bad news for him. Because this also means that Aokiji's devil fruit was plundered by the opponent. If you count the devil fruits that were plundered before, this guy should have a lot of devil fruits in his hands now. If you let the other party find someone, the other party will soon assemble their own sphere of influence. Of course, he is also worried about whether the other party can have the ability of multiple devil fruits. If he really has such ability, it will undoubtedly be a huge threat to their navy. Even if the opponent does not have a devil fruit, the opponent's strength is very terrifying. If he has a variety of devil fruit, the opponent's strength is a bit terrifying. As for the other people, at this time, they couldn't keep their mouths shut. Because they didn't expect that the other party would have such a sky-defying ability. Aokiji is also very comfortable at this time. Because he hasn't swam in the sea since he ate the devil fruit. You know, for these navies, if they can't swim, it is a very painful thing. This is why many people are reluctant to eat devil fruits. However, at this time, warring states said to these people, we have to go back and convene a new meeting. They also have no doubts about the practice of the warring states. Because this meta song is obviously very unusual. If you don't understand the enemy in depth, you will definitely lead to disaster at that time. Then these people came back to the conference hall. At this time, it is not only the warring states frowning, even the crane's face is very ugly at this time. Because the other party has such an ability, it is simply not to be underestimated. Although the devil fruit has the potential to become a landlubber, if an ordinary person obtains the power of the devil fruit, he will gain powerful power. Although they don't know how many devil fruits there are in Yuan Singer, they know that there must be a lot of devil fruits in Yuan Singer. They clearly remember the curse about the Roger pirates. Many people lost their devil fruit abilities. During that time, there was a lot of uproar around the world. At the beginning, their navy was very happy, because in this case their navy was undoubtedly the one who benefited. But I didn't expect that this is not a curse, but caused by Yuanj. Although they didn't know how Yuanj knew how Yuanj plundered the devil fruit, the opponent's ability to do so was undoubtedly a huge threat to their navy. For such a threat, their navy cannot let it go. Then, they returned to the conference room. At this time, all the people present had serious expressions on their faces, and even Karp had serious expressions on their faces at this time. Of course, Kizaru is an exception at this time. It is estimated that this guy is always the same. Even in the eyes of other people, he looks like he is smiling. I told everyone just now. That guy may have the ability to plunder the devil fruit, although I don't know how the devil plundered the other party, but you may have heard of the curse of the One Piece. It should be this Yuanj. The devil fruit people are not cursed by their hands, but their devil fruit was plundered by Yuanj. If Yuanj can really get other people's devil fruit, then it's incredible for you to press a guy. Yeah, if I remember correctly, the Pirate King fought a lot of pirates back then, and those with devil fruit abilities were also very powerful, such as the Golden Lion and Whitebeard. Their devil fruits have been plundered by each other. Karp couldn't hold back at this time, because he also knew that this matter was of great importance, and it was also inseparable from him. You know, this guy chased Roger, the Pirate King, all over the world, and Roger was caught by this guy. But he never thought that there was such a person on the Roger pirate ship. If he had investigated carefully at the beginning, he might have been able to find out something. Even if the other party cannot be eradicated, at least things will not be as serious as they are now. When other people heard this, it was very shocking at this time. If the opponent really has such an ability, it will undoubtedly be a huge threat to their navy. As long as the other party has established its own sphere of influence, then the strength of the other party cannot be underestimated. The other party has such ability, and it seems that there are many kinds of devil fruit abilities, and the other party's strength is very powerful even among the four emperors. Marshal of the Warring States period, I think this matter should be disclosed. If this is the case, the guys like those who took away the devil fruit from him might find trouble for the other party. At this time, Akainu suggested. 42. Go to the Chambord Islands. He undoubtedly wanted to provoke a conflict between Yuanj and other pirates. If so, their navy could take advantage of the fishermen. However, the Warring States denied the other party's proposal. Akainu, although you want to let them kill each other, do you think that if you spread these things out, it will undoubtedly expand the influence of the other party, and many people will turn to that guy? We will undoubtedly be at that time. I advertised for the other party. Of course, if this matter is revealed, what will the people think at that time? They will only think that we are very incompetent. At this time, Sengoku explained the benefits of this decision to Akainu. Hearing this, Akainu didn't know what to say. After that, there was silence on the conference table, and the other little people didn't know what kind of proposal they should have. The meeting was so deadlocked. Warring States is really a little uncomfortable with such a look. Then he said to the other people, as for the matter of Yuanj, we still have to observe more. The place is very powerful, and we also lack understanding of each other, so don't act rashly with each other now. Marshal, Yuan Gejian has disappeared. How can we observe it? At this time, the vice admirals also spoke. Because they held this meeting because of Yuan Ji's sudden disappearance, but they didn't expect it would turn into such a situation. Why didn't they think of it? At this time, the faces of these lieutenant generals are very ugly, because in their opinion, these guys can't solve the problem with the admiral of the navy, let alone themselves. Therefore, most of them think that if we meet that guy Yuanj, we can still avoid it if we can, or we should not start a war with that guy easily. Hearing this, they were also a little embarrassed in the Warring States period at this time. Because the purpose of this meeting was mainly because Yuan Jie suddenly disappeared, but he didn't expect that he would say so many things. After being asked this, they are finally back to where they started. Warring States coughed dryly, and then said to these people, Yuanj and the others are probably going to the empty island, so there is no news of them. After saying this, the meeting was dismissed. Obviously, Yuanj and the others also attach great importance to them. If you don't pay attention to it, when you open in the Navy, the other party doesn't know what storms will be set off. Yuanj could never have imagined that he is now being valued by the Navy. The group of them was still floating leisurely in the sky. That's why these navies can't find them. They have been flying in the sky, these navies never thought of it. They are not always aware of the movements in the sky all the time. According to Yuanj's plan, they first sailed to the island of Hokage. Then he went to the Chambord Islands alone. He is really too bright now, if he is with other people. It will definitely cause a big stir in the Navy, so Yuanj plans to go to that place alone. Yuanj, isn't the wine you brewed delicious? Go make some wine and taste it. Crocodile said to Yuanj angrily at this time. For a guy like the Olympic song, Crocodile was furious to the extreme. Because in Crocodile's view, this guy is really hateful. Thinking about the last time, this guy didn't even wash his hands when he went to the toilet, and then gave him that thing to eat, and he felt very angry when he thought about it. After a period of time, Crocodile still felt that his stomach was churning at this time, which made Crocodile feel very uncomfortable. Because he made things difficult for Yuanj like this. I want to drink too. Go and brew it. If you drink too much of your own wine, I don't think it tastes good anymore. Yuanj said to Crocodile at this time. Hearing this, Crocodile gave the other party a wide-eyed look. Crocodile felt that there was no drama at this time, so he did not mention it. Because then it must be his business. Hokage would definitely not do such a thing. Moreover, Yuanj is very domineering, he can't quarrel with the other party, let alone beat the other party, which makes him feel very speechless. Although they were very close to the Chambord Islands, they did not go at this time. Instead, they drove towards the island of Hokage. Because, after all, only her Yuanj can drive this ship, and other people obviously cannot drive this ship. Soon, their group came to the island where Hokage lived. What is this place? Crocodile asked curiously at this time. Because this Dao seems a little too deserted. This is where I live. Hokage answered lightly at this time. Hokage is also a very gentleman. When I heard that it was the place where Hokage lived, Crocodile couldn't help but be curious. Why are we coming to this place? Crocodile was curious because it was a clear departure from the new route. Because in Crocodile's view, of course, their group was going to find One Piece. Especially Yuanj as the winemaker on Roger's pirate ship, he must know where Roger put the One Piece. However, Yuanj is obviously not interested in those who dare not. Because he no longer lacks money at this time, what he lacks at this time is devil fruit. I'm going to spend some time on the Chambord. You guys are staying here for a while. Yuanj said to them lightly at this time. Hearing this, Crocodile at this time was immediately very upset. Because this guy went to the Chambord Islands alone. I'm going too. Yuanj then said angrily, if you go, it's best not to cause trouble for me. If you cause any trouble, I will definitely not care about you. Hearing this, Crocodile was a little angry, because he made himself seem like a big trouble. HMPH. You don't want to cause trouble for me. Then they went inside. Still, seeing such a big place. There wasn't even a single person, Crocodile said to Hokage, Eagle Eye. You guy lives in such a big place, and you don't even have a single person. At least a few people are needed. It's so hard to do some things yourself. Trouble. Hokage didn't pay any attention to Crocodile's words. After having a meal, Yuanj left this place. As for Dongli and Brokey, they lived on this island. Of course, Hokage didn't pay any attention to these two guys, he was still the same as before. These two guys lived on the island, as for what to eat, that's the guy's own business. When Yuanj left, Crocodile also ran over quickly. Since you are going to the Chambord Islands, let's go together. Crocodile also hurried over at this time. Because this crocodile does not have a boat now, he is here to rub the boat. 43. Why didn't you get pissed off? Open black lens bracket. Ask for collection. Close black lens bracket. In Crocodile's view, if this guy goes to the Chambord Islands, this guy must have a way. Aren't you going to trouble me? Yuan Jie did not say in a good mood at this time. Hearing this, Crocodile was very upset at this time, and this guy didn't even want to help. You know, Crocodile was very angry with Yuanj, and now this guy is still like this. Yuanj, after arriving at the Chambord Islands, I will go with you now. I am your partner now, you can't treat me like this. If that's the case, then why are you threatening me with yours? Boat. Crocodile said very unhappily. Hearing this, Yuan Jie didn't say anything. Then, this guy just cut down a tree, and then made that tree bigger through Momo fruit. Then through the ability of fluttering fruit, let this guy fly, Yuan set off towards the Chambord Islands with such a simple guy. Seeing such a scene, at this time, Crocodile didn't have a taste in his heart. He was simply more popular than dead. This guy's ability is really unbelievable. It's true that people are more popular than dead people. Crocodile also sighed at this time. Then why aren't you pissed off yet? Hearing this, Crocodile was very angry. Because this guy is really too cheap. At this time, Crocodile did not quarrel with the other party, but gave Yuan Jie a big stare. Crocodile bickering is no match for Yuanj. As for hands-on, it is not the opponent's opponent. Of course, at this time, Crocodile was only angry with Yuanj and did not dare to speak. This guy has a strong mouth, and his combat power is also very powerful. Crocodile never thought that he was about to become a king, and all these plans were destroyed by this guy in front of him. For all this, Crocodile at this time is also powerless. Who told him that he couldn't beat the opponent, and he still had a handle on the opponent's hand? Of course, Crocodile was also very curious as to why Yuanj knew about this. Because Yuanj also said that this matter was not told to him by Ivankov, so why would the other party know all this? To know this matter only she and Ivankov know. Of course, Yuan Jie was also very curious about the crocodile in front of him. Because is this guy a woman or a she-male? After all, Yuan Jie only mentioned this in the plot that Yuan Jie knew, and did not give any specific explanation. Just like that, the two of them were full of doubts. But the two of them didn't say a word. Yuanj's speed is quite fast. The speed of his fluttering fruit is fast enough, and this guy also used a burst of outdated abilities to increase the momentum of the ship to move forward quickly. Let people, after adding this shaking fruit, this piece of wood does not seem very stable. This made Crocodile complaining constantly. But Yuan Jie did not pay attention to this crocodile. They soon came to the Chambord Islands. But they didn't fly directly to the Chambord Islands. Because in that case, they were riding a big log, and that was really eye-catching. They are now the target of the Navy's terminal bounty, and it is easy to attract the attention of other people. You know, if the Navy knows about this, the Navy will definitely come immediately. Of course, after the people here heard about Yuanj, they would definitely leave this place immediately. You must know that Yuan Jie is not a simple character now, he is now the 5th emperor on the sea, and his strength is terrifying. And his murderous reputation spread far and wide. You know, the few times when the pirate army came to encircle and suppress him, Ben was a soft persimmon and was easy to bully, but they were almost all killed by Yuan Jie. Naturally, Yuan Jie didn't know this. At this time, he was mainly afraid of attracting the attention of the Navy. Although he is very strong, there are many people in the Navy with strong feet, and he is not the opponent of these guys. In particular, there are still very strong guys in the world government, such as the 5 old stars. They must be a few unusual old guys. If the Navy can't do it, then the world government will definitely come to deal with itself. I am definitely not the opponent of those guys. If you are the opponent of these guys, then you shouldn't be so sneaky. He will directly overthrow the world government, and then become the king himself, ordering his men to find the devil fruit. The speed is estimated to be even faster. However, at this time, Yuan Jie was not as strong as that. If he was so strong, he would really do it. He listened to this piece of wood when Yuan Jie went to the Chambord Islands. At this time, Crocodile also asked curiously, "Aren't we going to the Chambord Islands? Why did we stop at this place?" Hearing this, Yuan Jie said angrily at this time, "Old Shah. Why are you getting more and more mindless? The reason why we came down here is because if we go directly, we will definitely think of it against the Navy's mind. You must know that this Chambord is under the Holy Land Mary Joa, and there are a large number of navies stationed here. If we do that, we will definitely attract the attention of the Navy, and then we will definitely be made dumplings by those Navy." Hearing this, he also nodded at this time. At this time, Crocodile did not refute the other party, mainly because the other party had reasons. But at this time, he was very curious about how the other party got to the Chambord Islands. "How did you get to the Chambord?" "Of course it's flying over," Yuan Jie said in a nonchalant manner. After answering Crocodile's, Yuan asked about Crocodile's love at this time. "Laosha, how did you get to the Chambord Islands?" When asked by Yuan, Crocodile seemed a little embarrassed at this time. He naturally followed Yuan Jie, but at this time, Crocodile looked at Yuan Jie with a look of disgust, and he didn't know what to say at this time. Yuan Jie saw Crocodile like this, and said angrily, "Let me give you a ride." Saying that, the Yuan song at this time made Crocodile float. Then the two of them set off towards the Chambord Islands. Yuan Jie flew for a while, and then came to the Chambord Islands. They came to a place with no one. 44. Robbery of Crocodile. This guy is holding a piece of gold this big and beating on the street. If it doesn't attract the attention of others, it is definitely impossible. When Crocodile came to a place where there were not many people, a group of people suddenly jumped out from around Crocodile. Crocodile wasn't nervous at all when he saw these people. "I am a bounty of 500 million, I am a big pirate, how can I be afraid of these little scoundrels? Do you know who we are? We are the subordinates of that Yuan. It's the new Sea Emperor, with a bounty of 2.5 billion. Hearing this, Crocodile was also slightly taken aback at this time. He also cursed at this time. "Sure enough, that kid still didn't treat me as his own, and even asked my brother to take things back like me. I said how could that guy be so generous this time?" At this time, Crocodile didn't see it. These were borrowing Yuan's prestige to scare the guy in front of him and let him hand over the gold in his hand to himself. "That one is our eldest brother, Crocodile. He did not take the position of Chihuahai as the king's subordinate, and came to be our boss Yuan's subordinate." Saying that, they pointed to a person in the distance. Crocodile was also a little confused. But soon, he saw a hook on his hand, a scar on his face, a large cotton jacket, and a cigarette in his mouth. Seeing such a scene, Crocodile at this time was stunned. What is this situation? After that one activated the counterfeit crocodile, the crocodile walked towards this side. Then he said to the real crocodile, "Boy, if you don't know my reputation, I will spare your life. I will tell you that I am the subordinate of the boss Yuan, known as the Sand Crocodile. At the beginning, I saw that our Yuan boss had the appearance of a sea god, so I gave up the identity of the king under Chihuahai and followed our Yuan boss. This guy's outfit is a bit similar. It's not enough to see such a scene. At this time Crocodile also understands that the guy in front of him is a fake. And he's still pretending to be himself. This intrigued Crocodile all of a sudden. He didn't expect that someone would dare to pretend to be himself in this place, and even come to rob him. That's interesting. At this time, Crocodile also sighed with emotion. Those guys don't know anything at this time. However, when the guy bragged about Yuan's song, it made Crocodile very angry. Why is it? Because that guy has the appearance of an emperor, so he chose that guy Yuanj for the second time. It was obvious that he was being coerced by that guy, okay. If that guy hadn't screwed up his plan, otherwise, the entire country of Alabasta would be his own. Then he is the king of a country. These were not Crocodile's anger. What made Crocodile angry was the way that guy Yuanjie still disliked his clothes all day long, saying that he couldn't do it here and there. After all, he is also the king of Chihuahua, and he is disliked by this guy, which makes Crocodile very unbearable. After the guy came over, these people discovered that the guy in front of them was very similar to their fake crocodile, and it felt like the other party was real. Brother, how does this guy look like you? At this time, those guys couldn't help but feel very suspicious. This guy must be impersonating. The guy who pretended to be Crocodile said to that guy, "Boy, you'd better hand over what's in your hands, don't blame us for being rude to you. I tell you, don't call yourself Crocodile, just like you, it looks fake." I saw a guy speaking to Crocodile very rudely. However, at this time, Crocodile said, "I am Crocodile." Hearing this, other people are very disdainful. "Our eldest brother is here, and your kid is still impersonating him. I tell you, your kid is looking for death now." That guy said rudely. "Really?" Crocodile said in a bad mood at this time. "These guys are really hateful, they dare to do such a thing here in their own name." Of course, the main thing is not these, but what these people just said, which made him feel very angry, "Give it to me, this kid really likes to be arrogant, you want to give this time a little color." The guy who claimed to be High Crocodile pointed at the real Crocodile very rudely at this time. They used this kind of routine to defraud a lot of money before. The guy in front of them was the first guy they didn't get deceived. If it was the other guys, when they heard the prestige of Crocodile and Yuanj, their calves were so frightened that they all softened. But the guy in front of him is obviously not that kind of person. The person in front of them did not let them be deceived, which made them feel very angry. When they were most angry, these guys even used their own tricks to say that they were Crocodile. The other party must be a liar. In their opinion, the real Crocodile would not dare to come to such a place, which is below the Holy Land Maria. Above them is the seat of the world government. How dare those guys come to such a place? And those guys don't even know their whereabouts, even the Navy. If they really appeared in this place, they would definitely be informed. If they received information, they would naturally dare not call themselves Crocodile, but now they have not received information at all. Obviously, the guy in front of him is fake. After the order of the fake Crocodile, the hands then besieged Crocodile, and their faces were very fierce. They seemed to want to scare each other with their vicious looks. However, it was all in vain. Although Crocodile is not as famous as Yuanj, he is one of the 7 seas under the king. 45. Crocodile was reported. Those guys who wanted to rob Crocodile and those who were mummified by Crocodile quickly found water behind them. They were relieved from the pain of lack of water. Crocodile. The guy in the lead was very angry. Although this Crocodile is very powerful, but he is so embarrassed by the other party, as long as he is alone, he will be angry. "Boss, I think since Crocodile dares to come to the Chambord Islands, then Yuanj will not be far. We can tell the Navy this news. You know, the Navy is now looking for these guys all over the world." Trace. This time someone suggested. "Boss, I think we should forget it. After all, this Crocodile is a subordinate of Yuanj. I heard that none of the guys who were going to catch Yuanj have survived, and this Yuanj is recognized by the Navy and the world. Oh, 5th Sea Emperor." For that person's proposal, someone persuaded at this time. "And this is because we want to rob each other. The other party didn't kill us. It's already very kind. Besides, if the other party knows about it, the other party will definitely not let us go." "Mog, you look so cowardly, that guy is indeed very terrifying, but we just said something to the Navy, and the other party always thinks that we are the subordinates of Brother Doflamingo. We guys are it's just a little guy ridden by a moth. Even if he's looking for it, he's looking for Doflamingo. The most important thing is that the customer here is the Chambord Archipelago, which is the Holy Land of World Government Mary Joa. However, there are a large number of navies stationed there. In this place, forgive the other party and dare not act wild in this place. Therefore, we don't care so much at all. That one person suggested at this time. When I heard this, the guy at the head agreed with this suggestion very much. Because in his opinion, and Crocodile may not really take himself seriously. This guy is gone, it is estimated that the other party does not know what he looks like. Of course, he also held a grudge against Doflamingo. Because this Doflamingo is a vampire. They often do some kidnapping of people, and those people are sold for high prices at the auction in Doflamingo, but the money allocated to them is not a lot. Because he was very angry in his heart. However, it is impossible for him to publicly abuse Doflamingo. The other party is very cruel. If he and the other party face each other, then he will definitely die by then. As for doing it behind your back, your guy will definitely not know about it. After thinking about this, he was also very satisfied. He thought to himself in his heart at this time. Let these two mad dogs bite each other. Soon, a letter was received from the Naval Division of the Holy Land Mary Joa. It says they found Crocodile in the Chambord Islands, and it also describes the guy holding a piece of gold. Later, according to these naval investigations, it seems that there really is such a guy. Because returning this crocodile is holding a piece of gold, that guy, this place is very eye-catching. Therefore, there are many bounty hunters and pirates who want to rob this guy. Therefore, if he wants to inquire, he can inquire at once. Even if no one wrote such a letter, the Navy knew that Crocodile had come to the Chambord. Of course, this crocodile has already come to the Chambord Archipelago, so Yuan Jie might also be in this place. At the same time, Crocodile was also very depressed, because those who wanted to rob him said that they were Doflamingo's subordinates. This brother Doflaming is really hateful, just that guy, his subordinates dare to be so arrogant in front of me. Brother Doflaming, I will never let you go. Crocodile snorted angrily. In fact, he had long been upset with Doflamingo. In fact, not all of these guys are Doflamingo's subordinates, some of them just have business dealings with Doflamingo. These guys are either pirates or bounty hunters, usually doing kidnapping and robbery. As for him, the person who kidnapped Dao was naturally sold to Doflamingo. It is then auctioned by Doflamingo. As for the people who buy and sell these guys, they are generally world nobles from heavenly dragons. These heavenly dragons are rich and powerful, and their shots are very generous. Although the business of the traders was very good, they did not have a lot of money at that time. Most of the money was collected by Doflamingo. In this regard, they are also very hungry and helpless. When the Navy knew about this, they immediately held a meeting. The trace of Yuan Jie is very important to them, but now Yuan Jie is present in the Chambord Islands. You know, that's under the Holy Land Mary Joa. There are often aristocrats of the world, Dragonians. These Tianlong people are very hungry and arrogant. If Yuan Jie is provoked, they don't know what will happen. If this happened, it would be very troublesome. Those guys are world nobles, and the world government will definitely reprimand their navy for not doing well. In order to avoid such a thing from happening, the Navy immediately mobilized a large part of the Navy's forces to set off from Marin Bando towards the Holy Land Mary Joa. Although Mary Joa, the Holy Land where the world government is located, has a lot of troops, Yuan Jie's strength is very terrifying. The opponent also has the ability of a variety of devil fruits. All this is a huge threat to the Navy. At this time of the Warring States period, it was an incomparable headache. Because he didn't expect such a thing to happen. Yuan Jie and the others went to the Chambord Islands, but they didn't know it. This guy is really in a huge trouble. At this time, Sengoku covered his head and sighed with emotion. You must know that the other 4 emperors generally do not leave their place easily. Because as soon as they leave, the navy will make small moves. The navy is very afraid of them, and those pirates are also very afraid of the navy. As for Yuan Jie, the 5th emperor recognized by their world government and navy, he was different from other emperors on the sea. This guy is simply elusive. These navies are all looking for traces of Yuan Jie. But it has never been found, which makes these navies extremely depressed. When they heard that Yuan Jie was in the Chambord Islands, it made them very happy. 46. Humiliating Tianlong people. Because finally found the trace of Yuan Jie. The other navies were very happy to find Yuan Jie's trace, but at this time, the Warring States period couldn't be happy. He was afraid of what Yuan Jie would do to the Tianlong people in the Chambord Islands. As the admiral of the navy, he was very disgusted with the actions of the Tianlong people. But there is no way out of all this. Who said that this world was brought down by Tianlong people? Of course, the Warring States period was also very curious. Why did Yuan Jie go to the Chambord Islands? You know, Yuan Jie used to be a crew member on Roger's ship, and this guy knows a lot. From the perspective of the Warring States period, this Yuan Jie must have done something when he went to the Chambord Islands. For these things, the Warring States period had to start worrying at this time. It was already late at night, but at this time the Warring States period still hadn't slept. What the hell is this guy doing in the Chambord? This thing spread quickly. When this incident spread, the whole world boiled. You know, they haven't found any trace of Yuan Jie for a while, and Yuan Jie's whole person seems to be missing. The reason why the whole world is boiling is because Yuan Jie is a popular figure all over the world. In less than a few months, this guy has become the emperor of the sea, and his strength and energy are very terrifying. This also led to a lot of people's admiration for Yuan Jie, especially those who just became pirates. When they heard Yuan Jie thinking about making the Chambord Islands, these pirates flocked to the Chambord Islands one by one. Even if they knew that the navy had transferred a lot of troops to this place. The reason why these guys came to this place is because they know that although Yuan Jie is now the 5th emperor on the sea, he does not have many subordinates. Because they all want to be the subordinates of feeding Yuan Jie. Except, of course, those guys who want to be One Piece. Because they didn't take Yuan Jie into their eyes at all. As for the news, it spread all over the world in less than a day. The next day, the naval forces led by Kizaru and Akainu arrived at the Chambord Islands. If Aokiji's devil fruit bee Yuan Jie hadn't been taken away, Aokiji would definitely have sent it over. Because the strength of Yuan Jie's group is very terrifying. As for the Warring States period, even after thinking about it all night, this guy didn't figure out what the purpose of Yuan Jie's coming to this place was. After Yuan Jie got tired of playing, he went to a hotel and stayed there. As for Crocodile, he went to a restaurant to eat with a piece of gold. This Yuan Jie's boat is really pitiful, not even a decent cook. Before they ate all Sanji made, as for the back is to eat Yuan Jie's fingers. Of course, Yuan Jie used that kind of food type devil fruit. Crocodile was extremely difficult. He was holding such a piece of gold, but he attracted a lot of people who wanted to rob, but in the end they all came back without success, and they were taught a lesson by Crocodile. Just when Crocodile came to a restaurant, a team of navies broke in at this time. Crocodile was surrounded by the navy before he ate anything. Seeing this, Crocodile also knew that it was very bad. Who knows, these navies have surrounded him all. Although there were no admirals leading the team this time, there were quite a few vice admirals. Crocodile took a lot of effort to escape. Crocodile at this time was cursing at this time, well, you are a doflamingo. If you don't take good care of your subordinates, Crocodile will never spare you. Crocodile was very angry in his heart. Did you see a guy holding a piece of gold? I only heard a navy in the distance constantly asking people passing by. Hearing this, Crocodile immediately turned around and ran. Crocodile is not sure, has the admiral come? Even if he didn't come, it would be very difficult for him to deal with several vice admirals by himself. Therefore, at this time, Crocodile can only run. While running, he looked at the gold nugget in his hand. At this time, Crocodile began to scold Yuanj. This guy must have given me such a big nugget on purpose to get people's attention. In the end, Crocodile didn't even blink an eye, and then threw the gold nugget away. If he carried such a gold nugget, he would be easily discovered by the Navy at that time. Moreover, it's just a piece of gold, and he can get a lot of it in Crocodile. If it really doesn't work, you can ask Yuanjie to ask for it. Feng Zheng's guy doesn't lack this thing now. Only later did Yuanjie know that his whereabouts had been revealed. This made Yuanj very contempt for this crocodile. This guy feels like a burden. If success is not enough, there is more than failure. Next time, teach this guy a good lesson. If this guy is still like this, just drive this guy out. Still very angry about this song. This guy is undoubtedly trying to ruin his own good. Of course, on the other hand, this guy's strength is too weak. If it wasn't for the fact that he didn't have a crew right now, he wouldn't have found such a guy. The navies began a search of the entire Chambord archipelago. But they want to find the trace of Yuanj. When Yuanjie saw these guys coming to check one by one, Yuanjie didn't panic at all. He randomly found a person he came into contact with, and then by imitating the fruit, he became a look of the other party. When those guys checked, nothing out of the ordinary was found. Then, Yuanjie swaggered down the street. At the same time on this street, a guy in a navy uniform said to a guy on the side of a daze in a glass hood, making it look like an astronaut, Charles Saint Lord. You still don't want to be on this street. Walk. Yuanjie, one of the 5 emperors, appeared here in the Chambord Islands recently. We are afraid that your guy will attack you. Justice is written on the back of the navy, and it is obvious that the position is not low. You know, ordinary guys can't be so skinny. However, the guy named Charles Rose didn't take him seriously. It was thought that Saint Charles Rose was the Dragonborn. Nobles in this world. 47. Bullying the Tianlong people. He didn't listen to the Navy's opinion, but slapped the guy directly. Then he said angrily, that guy is just a pirate. Or all of you Navy's just a sack, so you can't even deal with such a pirate. And I am a Tianlong person, a noble in this world. If that lowly guy dares to do something to me, I will definitely not spare him. After saying this, Saint Charles Rose also added, this world was created by us Tianlong people, what kind of thing is that guy? Although the Navy was beaten, he didn't say anything. Instead, he licked his face and smiled at Saint Charles Rose. And when what Charles Street says keeps saying yes. This day, the dragons themselves can't afford to provoke them. The other party actually wants to do this, and there is no way for him. If he really made this guy angry, then he would definitely not have any good fruit to eat. Even if the other party killed him, the Navy would not speak to him. The other party is a Tianlong person, who has different privileges than others. You can't offend the other party yourself. And that Yuanj might not necessarily meet this guy. Hey, are you saying that guy is very good? Charles Rose asked the Navy at this time. That guy is very powerful, and the other party is the 5th Sea Emperor recognized by the Navy. That thought the Navy replied to Charles Rose Saint. For the other party to raise such a question, this Navy is also very curious. Of course he didn't dare to ask. Because of this guy in front of him, he can't afford to be offended. Very good. If your Navy catches that guy, you must tell me that if that guy is used as a slave, it should be very good. These slaves cost such a huge price, but all these slaves are all very useless, not because they don't want to be a pirate, but because they want to be a wife and children. Quote. When the Navy heard about Saint Zechar Rose, he was shocked and didn't know what to say. Not enough, in his heart he was very contemptuous of the Tianlong person in front of him. I really thought I was the old man. Even if the world government is caught, the Yuanj will not be given to this guy. You know, Yuan Jie is the 5th Sea Emperor recognized by the Navy. The Navy represents the will of the world government. Even the world government is very jealous of these Sea Emperors. Even if Yuan Jie kills the guy in front of him, what if neither the Navy nor the world government can take Yuan Jie? Of course, for these, he can only say silently in his heart. Unfortunately, Yuan Jie was passing through here at this time. Just heard this too. He also sneered at this heavenly dragon. This guy really thinks he's a character. Yuan Jie didn't take this guy seriously. After seeing the Tianlong people, all the people present knelt down at this time. If you don't kneel, you will definitely attract the attention of the other party. If you are noticed by the other party, then you will be miserable. Even those pirates had to kneel to this Tianlong man at this time. This St. Charles Ross was strutting along with a slave. Soon, he saw a guy who didn't kneel down. "Stop that lowly guy for me." St. Charles Ross scolded the guy who didn't kneel at this time. The other people looked at the guy who didn't kneel, with a look of pity on his face at this time. This guy is so disrespectful to the world nobles like Tianlongren, this guy must have no good end. This guy who didn't kneel was Yuan Jie. It's just that it depends on him imitating other people, so ordinary people can't see that this guy is Yuan Jie. If you know that this guy is Yuan Jie, the scene will probably be written in reverse. Yuan Jie sneered in his heart at this time. "Such a coward, you want me to kneel. It's just a dream. Why should I kneel?" Yuan Jie asked inexplicably at this time. Seeing this, at this time, a guy next to the Tianlong people said, "Our adults are Tianlong people. You don't dare to kneel when you meet him. Our adults are high-level Tianlong people, and you low-level races naturally want to kneel. We are a lower race." "That's right. Our adults are from Tianlong, don't you know that?" The guy reprimanded from the side. "I don't know, but I didn't see where this guy was at that time. On the contrary, this guy felt like a madman with such a guy. I looked at the guy like a lower race." Yuan Jie said politely at this time. Hearing this, the other people present didn't seem to laugh. At this time, their faces were ugly. For the guy in front of them, they also cursed incessantly. Because if this guy angers the Tianlong person in front of him, they will definitely be affected by that time. Hearing this, St. Charles Rose was very angry at this time, because this low-level guy in front of him even blatantly insulted the Tianlong people. This made him very angry. Then, the guy pulled out a pistol. "Then shoot at Yuan Jie." For the other party to shoot, Yuan Jie at this time felt very ridiculous. Because such a guy is in the world of pirates, for ordinary pirates, this gun is like a toy. It won't pose a big threat to them at all. Not to mention a guy with terrifying power like Yuan Jie. If you say you're brainless, you're really a brainless person. Do you think such a guy will threaten me? It's just a joke. Yuan Jie laughed. Of course, Yuan Jie really couldn't stand the appearance of these Tianlong people. He has long been unhappy with these guys. These guys are as stupid as pigs. He also claims to be a world aristocrat. And these guys are crooked one by one, growing into such a cowardly look. Charles Rose Saint ignored the other party, but shot directly at Yuan Jie. This bullet is nothing to Yuan Jie at all. Yuan Jie clamped the bullet directly. "I said that you are mentally retarded. You can't read and think about what you do. Just think about it, just like you guys. For us, it's just a toy." Seeing that Yuan Jie actually caught his bullet, Charles Rose was very angry. Especially what the other party said later, which made him even more angry. 48. Use Yuan Jie as a slave. Because this guy dared to humiliate himself like this. I am a Tianlong person, how can I be humiliated by such a low-level guy? Of course, at this time, he has a backhand. Then, he immediately ordered the slave he was holding, "You bastard, teach that bastard a good lesson. If it worsens that you can't even win that bastard, what do I want from you? Use." Hearing this, the guy who was trapped by St. Charles's chains had an incomparable hatred for Yuan Jie at this time. because he understands the meaning of the dragon man. If he can't deal with this guy in front of him, the other party might kill him. For these heavenly dragons, these slaves have absolutely no freedom and power. This time he went to deal with the guy who made him suffer. For his own slave, Charles Rose is very confident. Because this slave was bought at a huge price by himself. The opponent's strength is definitely beyond doubt. For the guy in front of him, Yuan Jie naturally didn't take it seriously. However, for the adoption of slaves by the Tianlong people, Yuan Jie felt very angry. These guys really take themselves too seriously. At this moment, Yuan Jie's eyes swelled with anger. Of course, it wasn't the slave in front of him, but these abominable Tianlong people. That slave knew that if he couldn't defeat the person in front of him, then today would most likely be his death day. Therefore, at this time, he was fighting his own life to attack Yuan Jie. However, Yuan Jie was unmoved at this time. When seeing such a scene, Charles Rose was very happy at this time, because in his opinion, the arrogant inferior guy in front of him was probably terrified. As for the others, after seeing such a scene, they were only full of deep ridicule towards Yuan Jie. Because this guy is really too bold, and he dares to anger the Tianlong people, he is simply impatient. However, just when the slave of the Tianlong people was about to attack Yuan Jie. At this time, Yuan Jie used his hand as a knife, and then looked towards the neck of the slave of the heavenly dragon. When I saw such a scene, I was shocked to take a slave at this time. Because it was something he hadn't thought of. And the other party is the kind of prestige exuding from his body, and he can't resist it at all. At this time, the slave groaned in his heart, and then began to despair. Because if you can't beat the guy in front of you, then you will definitely not end well. However, at this moment, Yuan Jie turned his palm into a knife and looked directly at his chain. When seeing such a scene, this time to take a slave of Tianlong people at this time hinted that he was shocked. If you touch this ring, then this ring will explode. At that time, you will definitely feel bad. Of course he never thought that this Yuan Jie could split his collar. Because in his opinion, his circle is extremely hard, and ordinary guys can't break this guy. However, at this moment, with a click, the slave collar was split open by Yuan Jie. After seeing such a scene, all the people present were very surprised. These guys are the natives of the Chambord Islands. I know very well about the Chambord Islands. The collars of these heavenly dragon people's slaves are so hard that they cannot be cut by ordinary swords. If it can be opened, these guys will all run away. You know, these guys used to be some very powerful pirates. But after being caught in this circle, these guys have nothing to do with it. Otherwise, these guys will fall into such a miserable situation. When that slave was released by Yuan Jie, he was very inconceivable about all this. You must know how many days and nights you want to escape from the claws of this dragon. But he couldn't escape. Because the collars on their necks are controlled by these dragons. And if you don't have the key to your own circle, it will be difficult for you to open it. But this heavenly dragon man's slave never thought that the guy in front of him would split the collar on his neck with his bare hands. After the collar on the slave's neck was loosened, he was surprised for a moment. Then the guy didn't even say thank you. Then ran away. Because in the eyes of that slave, he finally gained his freedom. You should run quickly, knowing that the other party is a Tianlong person. If he didn't run faster, he would definitely be caught again. As for the one who saved himself, in the eyes of this slave, how could he alone compete with the dragon and the navy? Therefore, he felt that if he still stayed in this place, then he was not just as simple as not having freedom. When you arrive, your life will be gone. That's why this guy runs so fast. Seeing that his slave ignored him, he ran away. At this time, Charles Rose had an angry look on his face at this time, and then scolded, "This damn waste, dare to run away, if I catch it again, I have to kill you this guy." After Charles Rose said this, he immediately turned to Yuan Jie. Then, very rudely, Since you lowly guy took my slave away, then you should be my slave. In the eyes of St. Charles, the guy in front of him is obviously stronger than the slave he had just now. Moreover, the guy in front of him was so disrespectful to himself. I also want to give this guy a good look. Yuan Jie did not expect that the other party would have such thoughts. He even wanted to take himself as a slave. You're right, you guys should experience what it's like to be a slave. Otherwise, you always find this guy to be a slave, and that guy to be a slave. Yuan Jie said to St. Charles Rose at this time. When other people heard this, they were dumbfounded. Because they actually heard that someone wanted the Tianlong people to be slaves, which is simply unimaginable. You must know that the Tianlong people are the nobles of the world, and the noble ones are extremely noble. Even those naval generals have to give these Tianlong people face, which shows how noble these Tianlong people are. However, now there are people who want to take Tianlong people as slaves. Of course, no one thought that all this could be achieved. You must know that the entire world government is controlled by the Tianlong people. If someone enslaved their Tianlong people, their world government would definitely not let this guy in front of him give up. 49. The bully is the Tianlong people. Although the guy in front of him is very powerful, how can this guy compete with the world government and the navy? Therefore, these guys feel that this is a completely impossible thing. At this time, these people still cast pitiful glances at Yuan Jie. Because the other party actually humiliated the Tianlong people like this, and also said such outrageous words. Tianlong people, the world government will definitely not let this guy go. For the Tianlong people, of course, these guys are very resentful, but for the behavior of the Tianlong people, these guys just dare to be angry and dare not speak. Therefore, although they cast a sympathetic look at Yuan Jie, these people didn't say it, and basically kept silent, only occasionally a few daring guys whispered there. Of course, these guys didn't dare to speak loudly, they were afraid that Tianlong would think of them. It was at this time that the navy noticed the commotion here. Then they rushed over immediately. After seeing that it was a Tianlong person, the navy became extremely respectful. Anyone can provoke, but they can't provoke these Tianlong people. This is a rule that the navy has formed invisibly. When St. Charles Rose saw that the navy was coming, he immediately said to the navy, "This guy dares to publicly humiliate our Tianlong people, we must catch this guy. And this guy released my slave, I must make this guy my slave." At this time, St. Charles Ross said with oath, "Don't worry, your lord, this matter is on my shoulders." At this time, the admiral thought that the admiral was facing Charles Ross Saint. After seeing Yuan Jie, the admiral was very happy. Because in his opinion, the guy in front of him is just a little pirate, and he can deal with it casually. As for why this guy thinks Yuan Jie is a guy who is not worth mentioning, that's because he has never seen the guy in front of him. If he catches this guy in front of him, he can go to the navy to claim credit when the time comes. Because he protected a Tianlong person. After thinking of all this, he only felt that there was hope for him to be promoted and rich. Then the navy went to Yuan Jie. However, just when the other party was about to make a move, Yuan Jie at this time asked the other party, "Are you a devil fruit person?" Faced with such an abrupt question from the other party, he thought that the navy was also slightly taken aback. However, he is obviously not a devil fruit person. Therefore, this guy said angrily, "Even if you are not a devil fruit person, I can still teach you a good lesson, a guy who dares to offend the nobles of the world. You have to know that the reason why the navy does not move you is because of you. This guy is not worth our navy's big hole to fight. Don't think that our navy didn't catch you before, you feel very powerful, if you regret it now, you regret your own mouth and shouldn't offend people." That thought the navy chief was very arrogant. Little did not see Yuan Jie in his eyes. Of course, if Yuan Jie was the original one, the naval officer would probably be too frightened to say anything. However, the current Yuan Jie has used the ability to imitate the fruit. At this time, he imitated a person casually. Therefore, this naval officer has never seen Yuanj. Yuanj was also a little disappointed when he learned that the other party was not a devil fruit person. If the other party thinks that the devil fruit has the ability, then he will benefit and obtain a devil fruit. Therefore, at this time, Yuanj did not show any mercy. Just when the other party was about to attack him, he stretched out his hand. Before touching the opponent's body flew up. This guy flew a certain distance, and this guy also suffered a lot of injuries. What Yuanj just used was the domineering arrogance. And without touching each other, it can have a strong power. Of course, Yuanj didn't kill this person either. That guy was directly beaten with blood and foam. Seeing this, that person was stunned. Because the other party didn't even touch his body, he became like this. It can be seen that the opponent's strength is very terrifying. When the naval officer stood up, his face was full of surprise, and he looked at Yuanj like a monster. While watching, he stammered and asked, "You? Who are you?" For this guy's question, Yuanj did not answer. At this time, he walked straight towards the St. Charles Rose. When St. Charles Rose saw that the admiral was defeated like this, he also cursed the trash. Before this guy swore that he would teach the arrogant guy in front of him a lesson, but in the scene just now, facing this low-level guy, he thought that the Navy would be powerless to fight back. "You'd better not come here, let me tell you, I am a Tianlong person, if you dare to touch me, then you are against the world government, and the world government will not spare you." Charles Rose was also a little bit at this time. "I am afraid. Because the opponent's strength is there after all." At this time, he can only scare the other party by relying on his identity as a heavenly dragon. You know, the reason why these guys are obedient to them is because they are Tianlong people, and they are the descendants of those who created this world. However, the guy in front of him didn't know whether he didn't know his identity or was not afraid of his own identity. Charles Rose Saint had to be a little scared at this time. Although his brain is not very smart, this guy is not a fool. If he still used the attitude he had before, if the other party attacked him, he would be really dead. Therefore, at this time, he can only wait for a powerful navy to clean up this arrogant guy. He was still counting on the navy in front of him. But obviously, this one is not very strong, so it is not the opponent's opponent at all. Hearing this, Yuanj said with a smile at this time, "If I don't move you, you will move me later. Will the world government let me go with the things I did before? You know, you are a Tianlong. Man, I was disrespectful to you just now, and the world government will definitely not let me go. If this is the case, why don't I teach you a good lesson to you, a pig who is not as good as a dog?" Hearing this, St. Charles at this time was very angry. Because the other party is disrespectful to him. He was also very angry immediately. "You." Just when St. Charles Ross was about to say something, Yuanj at this time was the first to say, "What are you? I tell you, I just want to bully you Tianlong people, what can I do?" At this time, Yuanj was old-fashioned, and he didn't give any face to these Tianlong people at all. "It seems that I was too late, and all the cats and dogs are screaming in front of me." Yuanj was talking at this time, clasping his ears, looking like a hooligan. As for those kneeling guys, at this time, they were already surprised and murmuring. Because they had never seen before, the Tianlong people had been humiliated like this. You know, you can offend anyone in this place, but you can't offend the Tianlong people. They are world nobles. For these Tianlong people, they also hated each and every one of them. Because these guys bully men and bully women, are domineering, do all kinds of evil, and are even more abominable than those pirates. 50. Battle of the Yellow Monkeys. Open black lens bracket. Recommended ticket. Close black lens bracket. When they saw Yuanj humiliating this Tianlong person like this, they felt very happy in their hearts. Because they have never seen Tianlong people be reprimanded like this. Of course, their hearts were extremely comfortable, and one of these heavenly dragon people didn't see them as human beings at all. But at this time they didn't show it. Of course, Yuanj knew all this. Otherwise, after the Doflamingo family lost the privileges of the Tianlong people, they would be cast aside by other people. As Yuanjie spoke, he was gearing up for it. When seeing Yuanjie like this, St. Charles at this time was really scared. In his opinion, the guy in front of him is a lunatic, a desperate lunatic. The other people saw that they couldn't even hide in time, and the guy in front of them was still irritating them. You know, if the powerful admiral in the navy catches the guy in front of him, then the guy will feel better. But when there was no one to help, at this time, Charles Rose had to confess to Yuanj. Therefore, even if Yuanjie humiliated himself like this, he didn't have any refutation at this time. Of course, this does not mean that St. Charles Rose is not angry. If this matter spreads out, then he will definitely be ridiculed by other Tianlong people, and he will definitely lose face in the future. He has already thought about it. When the next navy arrives, he will catch the hateful guy in front of him. He killed the others. Then give a good lesson to this daring guy. In Charles Rose's view, these guys are just some pariahs who kill and kill. What kind of mercy? Seeing the other party like this, Yuanjie was still very satisfied at this time. Then he walked directly towards this side. He patted the helmet of St. Charles Rose. While filming, Yuanjie also said, "Not bad. It's good to know this. Ruzi can be taught." After saying this, Yuanjie saw that St. Charles Rose didn't make any movement, so he turned aside face at this time, and then asked sharply, "Isn't it?" Seeing Yuanjie's sudden appearance, Charles Rose was shocked at this time. Therefore, at this time, St. Charles Rose could only nod his head repeatedly. Don't look at the way this St. Charles is now dressed and benevolent, but this guy has a lot of resentment towards Yuanjie in his heart. As long as he waits until the Navy rescues him, he must punish this daring fellow. This guy must not be spared. However, it really did what this guy wanted, and at this time he really came to the Navy. And it's Admiral Kizaru. What happened here? I saw Kizaru walked over with a smile on his face. Because Yuanjie guessed that it was on the Chambord archipelago. Therefore, he was also sent by the warring states to this place to inspect. Also sent to this place as a kainu. After all, it can be known from Qingzi that the strength of this Yuanj is very good, and there are guys like Crocodile and Hawkeye to join. Although there are not many people, these guys are all very strong. Therefore, the Navy will make such a decision. Kizaru heard a commotion here, so he walked over to inspect. After Kizaru said this, then he saw St. Charles Rose. Because this day dragon people are really easy to recognize. This guy is wearing a white robe and a transparent helmet. It looks like he is wearing a space suit, and his shape is very unique. Therefore, it is also very easy to identify. What's the matter? Seeing the appearance of this heavenly dragon, Kizaru asked curiously at this time. As for this St. Charles Ross, he quickly recognized this guy as Kizaru, the Admiral of the Navy. However, this guy didn't know how terrifying the Admiral's strength was. He only knew that this guy was very powerful. Therefore, he also immediately said to Huang Yuan, "Huang Yuan, you are here. This guy has openly humiliated our Tianlong people, and he treats me like this. You must catch this guy, otherwise, I can't spare you." Seeing his savior coming, Charles Rose Santana was very happy at this time. Finally, I don't want to be humiliated by the other party. Hearing this, the yellow monkey at this time then looked at Yuanjie. Oh, so there is such a thing. When Charles Rose said this at this time, Kizaru was also very surprised. Because such a thing has never happened before. To start with the Tianlong people, it would simply be fatal. Then, Kizaru still looked at Yuanjie with a smile. After looking at Yuanjie, Kizaru glanced up and down Yuanjie's body at this time. I didn't see anything special about Yuanj. I just think that this guy is probably a desperado, so he would do such a stupid thing. You'd better let him go. He's a heavenly dragon, a guy you can't afford to offend. At this time, Kizaru still said to Yuan-Jie with a smile. St. Charles Rose heard this, and this time it was also the same as before. You know, before that, the other party was really too powerful, and there was no way for the other party to do anything at all, and he had to confess to the other party. But now it's different, but he has a rescuer. And the other party is also a yellow ape. Kizaru's strength is very powerful, so at this time, St. Charles Rose suddenly seems to have changed into a person. As for what Huang Yuan said, Yuan-Jie retorted at this time, then I have already offended, so how can I remedy it? After Yuan-Jie said this, Kizaru didn't know what to say. If you let him go, maybe you can spare your life. Kazuna, this guy humiliates us Tianlong people like this. This guy must not be spared so easily. If you dare to spare this guy, you can wait for the anger of the Tianlong people. You know, the person in front of him treated him like that just now. How could he forgive him so easily? You must teach the guy in front of you a good lesson. Therefore, I can't just let this guy go. Hearing this, Yuan-Jie at this time patted the St. Charles, and said angrily, who is your kid talking, why is it so rude? It seems that you guy needs a good training. Yuan-Jie said to St. Charles of the Heavenly Dragon, while patting the butt of St. Charles of Rose. Yuan-Jie hit it with a crackling sound. Seeing this, St. Charles at this time had a blue face. Because this guy was so arrogant, he even spanked his ass. How dare you do this to me, I will never forgive you. At this time, St. Charles Rose did not hold back these anger like before. 51. The Great War of the Yellow Ape 2, 4, for reward. After this meeting, he roared directly at Yuan-Jie. Because he now has such a savior as Kizaru. Don't be afraid of this daring guy at all. Yuan-Jie was naturally not frightened by the other party, and of course not frightened by Kizaru. Because he hasn't taken Kizaru to heart yet. Even if you look at it in your heart, it is a shining fruit of restoration. You put it in the wrong place, and of course I will take good care of you for your father. Yuan-Jie said very calmly at this time. The angry St. Charles nearly vomited blood. Because he didn't go east, even if Kyabu came, this guy still dared to do this. Therefore, at this time, he angrily scolded the yellow monkey. The yellow monkey and I are like this now, why don't you do it? At this time, St. Charles Ross ordered. Hearing this, Huang Yuan had a helpless expression on his face at this time, and then said to Yuan-Jie, you can't blame me, we all do things according to orders, who told you to offend the guy who can't be offended? Huang Yuan also sighed at this time. For these draconians. Yellow Ape is also very disgusted. But there is no way to do this. Who told others to be Tianlong people, but not himself? Seeing this, Yuan-Jie smiled and asked, really? If that's the case, then I'll be rude to you. After saying this, Huang Yuan attacked Yuan-Jie. Kizaru didn't take the guy in front of him into his eyes. Because this guy doesn't even know who he is. He couldn't believe it. These guys could be like Yuan-Jie, and they were very powerful when they came out. Then only a golden light was seen. This yellow monkey first emitted a light on his hand, and then he followed the light and came to Yuan-Jie's side in the blink of an eye. This guy obviously used the ability of the glittering fruit. Yuan-Jie didn't panic at all. He knew that this yellow ape would come to such a trick by seeing the domineering look. Therefore, when Kyabu attacked, he directly used his arm to resist all this. After Huang Yuan came to Yuan-Jie's side, he kicked directly at Yuan-Jie. The power of that kick was very huge, and a gust of wind rose. But that kick was like kicking a steel plate. Yuan-Jie didn't move at all, but the yellow ape was kicked a little in pain. Seeing this, Huang Yuan was also very surprised. Because he didn't go east, the guy in front of him could actually resist his kick. Obviously, this guy is not an ordinary person. Therefore, At this time, the yellow monkey had to look at Yuan with admiration. At this time, he still said to Yuan with a smile, "Sure enough. To be able to do such a thing, you still have such strength." Yuan didn't pay too much attention to Kizaru's words. Huang Yuan knew that the opponent's strength should not be underestimated, so he did not underestimate Yuan at this time. Kizaru's battle also began to become serious. Kizaru launched a light speed kick at this time. Yuan is still very familiar with this trick. This trick of his is to store light on the calf, kick the leg out at the speed of light, and can also shoot a laser. The power is enough to destroy a huge red book tree. If it was an ordinary pirate, under this move, he would definitely have no power to counterattack, and he would not be able to escape. Because the power of this move is very huge, and the speed of this move is also very amazing. However, Yuan is not an ordinary person. Even if he doesn't have the devil fruit, he is still very powerful. Therefore, when Huang Yuan stepped down, Yuan also punched him. When their feet and hands collided, it was as if Mars hit the earth, and the power was amazing. The ordinary people around were blown away at this time. It was also very bad for them to see this, so they also immediately left this place while taking advantage of the chaos. Seeing this, St. Charles Rose was very angry on time. Because they just saw themselves being humiliated by this hateful guy in front of them. If you don't seal up these guys, then your reputation will be completely ruined, and how can you be among the Tianlong people in the future? Of course, this also has a certain impact on the executors who will run for the world government in the future. He is a Tianlong person, and he can become the ruler of the world government. Of course, these rulers are also their celestial dragons. After all, this world was created by their Tianlong people. Therefore, the rules of this world are also made by their Tianlong people. Only, they can become the head of the world government. You all stop for me. Otherwise I'll be rude to you. If it was normal, if the other party said that, they would definitely stop. But now, if they still stand, then they are simply courting death. Of course these guys aren't fools. They saw this Tianlong man being humiliated by others, and they saw something they shouldn't have seen, so naturally they would not have any good fruit to eat. And the power of Kizaru and this guy fighting is too huge. If he stayed on the side, he would definitely be affected. At that time, it is not certain that he is alive or not. Kizaru didn't hurt the opponent with this kick, and Kizaru followed with the next kick. Moreover, the next kick of the yellow monkey is faster and more powerful. But all this did not pose any threat to Yuan. You are still very powerful. At this time, Kizaru said to Yuan with a smile. As for the situation of the St. Charles next to him, the situation is not good. He is also hiding far away at this time. The movement here is not ordinary, and it quickly attracted the attention of the recent Navy. You know, the Navy has deployed a lot of naval forces here. Because Yuan is on this island. Of course, there is another reason that this place is just below the Holy Land Mary Joa. It is also a huge threat to the world government. They had to make arrangements in advance. If that guy Yuan would attack the world government, then it would be very troublesome. Isn't that Kayaburu fighting? Akainu looked at Yuan and said solemnly. Akainu was also dispatched to this place. Seeing this, Akainu hurried over at this time. At this time, he didn't want to watch the fire from the other side. Because Kayabu is not his opponent to compete for the admiral. Competing against the admiral's opponent, Aokiji, now for Akainu, there is almost no pressure from anyone. The opponent's devil fruit was taken away by Yuan. The strength of the other party has also skyrocketed, and these navies will not let such a guy become a marshal. As for Kizaru, from Akainu's point of view, this guy doesn't want to be a naval marshal, and this guy Akainu doesn't take him to heart. At this time, Yuan was also hesitating. Because he knew that he was now fighting against Kizaru and would soon attract the attention of others. 52. kidnapping the Tianlong people, recommended ticket, reward. Although his own strength is very strong. But he is not confident enough that he can play against many people. You know, this is below the Holy Land Mary Joa. It is easy to attract the old guys from the 5 old stars. Yuan Jie was also very unfamiliar with those guys. Therefore, he still does not have the confidence to defeat all these guys. It is precisely because of this that Yuan Jie hesitated. At this time, he hesitated whether he would use the abilities of other devil fruits at all. Because he is now using the ability to imitate the fruit. Although he has many kinds of devil fruit abilities, he can only use one devil fruit ability at a time. If you use the abilities of other devil fruits, your ability to imitate the fruits will definitely disappear. At that time, it is very likely that he will be recognized by the other party. Of course, this is not the most deadly. The most fatal thing is that if the other party knows that he has such an ability, he may not be able to stay in this place. This is also what Yuan Jie didn't expect. He would play on the Chambord Islands and buy devil fruits, but he didn't expect this to happen. Of course, the strength of Kizaru is naturally not his opponent. But the strength of this yellow monkey is not weak, and it is impossible for him to achieve a quick decision. Unless you use the ability of the devil fruit yourself. Although Yuan Jie was thinking, the battle continued. Yuan Jie was thinking while fighting. Huang Yuan has been deflated several times, which makes Huang Yuan such a good-tempered guy, and his temper is not so good at this time. At this time, his skills are fully activated. The whole person is like a light, and the speed is very fast. Of course, Yuan Jie's movements are like electricity, and they are also very fast. Therefore, the two are indistinguishable. Of course, Yuan still has a lot of advantages at this time. After thinking for a while, Yuan Jie knew that he didn't have much time to think. Finally he made up his mind. He continued to hide his identity. The shiny fruit of the yellow monkey, let the yellow monkey keep it for himself temporarily. After thinking about this, Yuan Jie's figure flashed quickly. Then came to the side of St. Charles Rose. Then, his figure disappeared like a ghost. Seeing this, at this time, Charles Rose was screaming constantly. At this time, he couldn't even see what was in front of him. Because this is really too fast. Seeing this guy keep screaming. Yuan Jie then stunned the guy without mercy. Huang Yuan was originally relieved, because this day, the dragon man himself was finally rescued. But soon, Huang Yuan saw that, not far away, the figure who thought it was a Tianlong person had long since disappeared. Seeing this, Kizaru looked angry. Because the other party actually grabbed the person under his own eyes. After hearing the screams of St. Charles Rose, Kizaru immediately turned into a golden light and chased after him. After Yuan Jie stunned St. Charles Ross, he turned into his original appearance. However, at this time, he used the ability of Momo Fruit to make his speed faster. Therefore, even the yellow monkey is a little bit behind at this time. When Akainu came to the place, he saw only the tragic situation left by Yuanj and Kyabu. Because the strength of these two people is unusual, the traces of the battle are also very obvious. The surrounding houses have basically been leveled by the battle between these two people. And it left a deep hole. After seeing such a tragic scene of clothes, Akainu had to look very solemn at this time. Because the strength of this person and the guy who played against the yellow monkey is also very good. Where did that guy Kyabu go? Akainu is also very hungry and curious about the battle here. What kind of person is he to be able to fight with Kizaru to be like this? But soon, the yellow monkey came back. Kazuna, what the hell is this situation? Akainu asked very curiously at this time. That guy took the Tianlong people away. What? Akainu was very surprised by Kyabu's answer. Because he did not expect that someone would dare to touch the Tianlong people. You must know that the Tianlong people are the nobles of the world. Even a Navy admiral like him should be courteous to the Tianlong people by 3 points. But he never imagined that someone would dare to arrest Tianlong people. And it was still in the hands of Huang Yuan, who captured the Tianlong people. What the hell is going on here? Kizaru then told Akainu what he knew. The yellow monkey came later. Therefore, I don't know much about this matter. He also did not go to special investigation of this matter. At this time, he immediately reported to the Navy headquarters. When the warring states heard the news, he immediately reported to the world government. When St. Charles Rose's father, St. Roswald, and his sister, Shalulia Palace, knew that their brother had been taken away, and they were taken away in front of Admiral Kizaru, they immediately went to the world government to make trouble. In this regard, the world government also issued an order to the Navy. Be sure to get St. Charles Rose back. After all, this St. Charles Rose is a draconian. Someone dared to capture their Tianlong people, which is undoubtedly a huge humiliation for the world government. The next day, Yuan Ji's humiliation of the Tianlong people quickly spread. Although these people are very afraid of the Tianlong people, they are also very angry with the Tianlong people. These guys are simply beasts. Seeing Yuan Ji's humiliation like that, who thought he was a Tianlong person, was simply heartwarming. When it was spread by other people, even the 5 old stars were shocked. Because someone dares to humiliate their Tianlong people like this is simply slapping their world government in the face. Good things don't go out, bad things travel thousands of miles. Such news quickly spread around the world as if it had grown wings. After hearing such a news, the whole world was shocked. Because the Tianlong people are high-ranking world nobles, but they did not expect that they would be humiliated by others. Of course, the most important thing is that in the day-to-day life of the Tianlong people, they are arrogant and do not regard them as human beings. The world government is very embarrassing, and the life of the Navy is also very difficult. In the face of the pressure of the world government, the warring states also had to hold an emergency meeting. This time the meeting was not at the naval headquarters, but directly at the Holy Land Mary Joa. At the meeting, these guys were very resentful towards Kizaru. If it wasn't for Kizaru, there would be no such thing in their navy. To the gazes of those people, Kizaru is still smiling. Kazuna, what impression do you have of that person? Is that guy Yuan Jie? Warring states asked at this time. Kizaru pondered for a while, and then replied, the other party is completely different from the guy on the bounty, and the other party only used domineering in the process of fighting with me, and did not use the ability of devil fruit, and the other party's experience lust domineering and armed lukewarm domineering are both very powerful. According to my inference, that guy is definitely not Yuanj. After hearing this news, the faces of these people became more and more serious. Because they haven't even solved a single meta song, and now such a powerful character has emerged. And that guy can actually compete with the Admiral Kizaru. 53. Met Rayleigh. The most important thing is that these guys don't know each other at all. What kind of strength is that guy? At this time, someone asked very curiously. After all, this is a guy who can compete with Admiral Kizaru. Kizaru began to ponder, recalling yesterday's battle. I used all my strength at the time, but the opponent was not injured at all, and most of the time the opponent was on defense. If I guessed correctly, the opponent's strength should be higher than mine. When Kizaru said this, everyone present was shocked. Because it's really shit, they never thought of it. Of course, the most shocking thing is that this guy seems to have fallen from the sky. They had no idea about this guy. Even now, they don't know each other's names. Hearing this, the warring states period also frowned. Because Yuan Jie and his party are fine. Now suddenly such a guy has appeared. And this guy is not bad, even if he likes to mess around so much, which makes him feel a lot of headaches. You know, many pirates don't do anything against the world's noble Tianlong people, but this guy didn't say anything about humiliating the Tianlong people, and Zhang Ran kidnapped the Tianlong people. During this period of time, everyone cheered me up. Whether it's Yuan-Jie or that guy, we have to investigate thoroughly. As for that heavenly dragon man, Charles Rose, we must find each other, otherwise, I will not good deal with the world government. These people, weakly said yes. You know, even the yellow monkey is no match. Not to mention these guys. They don't have the terrifying strength of Kizaru. And the one who thought the mysterious guy shot the Navy before was still lying in the hospital at this time. The other party was seriously injured. If these people meet these two, what can they do? At that time, he might be killed or injured. Just thinking about it makes people feel very scary. As for Yuan-Jie, he was relieved after escaping from Kizaru's pursuit. After all, he has his own purpose. If Kyabu knew about him, how could he collect devil fruits in this place? Just when Yuan-Jie stopped to rest, a figure appeared behind Yuan-Jie. Boy, you are too stupid. How dare you do something to the Tianlong people? I saw a guy with glasses and white hair coming over. I thought the old man looked very dashing. This old man is the Hades Rayleigh. He happened to pass by there too, and happened to see that scene as well. Yuan-Jie couldn't help but not wrinkle when he heard this. Because he was being followed, he didn't even notice it. You are Rayleigh. When Yuan-Jie turned around, he found that it was none other than Pluto Rayleigh who was following him. This made Yuan-Jie also very excited. When Rayleigh heard what the other party said, Rayleigh was also stunned. What the hell is going on here? The tone of his opponent was very familiar to him. However, I don't know the guy in front of me at all. Because, at this time, Rayleigh was also slightly taken aback, and then asked, "Who are you?" "I'm Yuan-Jie." Yuan-Jie said to Rayleigh at this time. "Are you Yuan-Jie?" Rayleigh looked Yuan-Jie up and down, and then said suspiciously. "I'm really Yuan-Jie. You used to say that you like to drink the wine I brewed the most. If you can drink the wine I brewed often, it will be a very happy thing for you. You really are Yuan-Jie. But, your guy's change is too big." Rayleigh sighed at this time. However, Rayleigh soon remembered the appearance of Yuan-Jie on the reward order. Then, his face changed. Yuan-Jie is not like this. Who the hell are you? I have seen Yuan-Jie on the Navy reward. Rayleigh questioned at this time. When Yuan-Jie heard this, he remembered it. When he discovered the other party, he immediately changed into another look. Therefore, the present self is not what it is. After thinking about this, Yuan-Jie felt a little embarrassed at this time. Because he didn't think of himself as someone else. He immediately turned into his original appearance. Rayleigh was also slightly taken aback when he saw Yuan-Jie like this. But soon, he knew that this must be the ability of the devil fruit. Because in this world, many unusual people can be explained by those with devil fruit abilities. Rayleigh was also very happy when he saw Yuan-Jie. Because he and Yuan-Jie hadn't seen each other for a long time. Of course, what makes Rayleigh unforgettable is the fine wine made by Yuan-Jie. I didn't expect it to turn out to be you. You used to be quite honest and calm, but now what's going on? It's making the whole world uneasy. Rayleigh laughed at this time. After being said by Rayleigh, Yuan-Jie didn't know what to say at this time. After he came to this world, Roger One Piece and Rayleigh took great care of him. Therefore, in Yuan-Jie's view, these people are like his relatives. You have captured this Tianlong man now. I think the Navy is still looking for you. You should go to me. Rayleigh said to Yuan-Jie at this time. Hearing this, Yuan-Jie immediately agreed to such a proposal. However, the Tianlong people were arrested, and the island of Chambord was also under martial law. Yuan-Jie had to find a sack to pack the St. Charles. Of course, St. Charles Rose also woke up halfway. He was directly knocked out by Yuan-Jie. Along the way, there are constant searches by the Navy. However, Yuan-Jie is very powerful because of his strength, and also has the ability of many kinds of devil fruits. Therefore, this is no big trouble for him at all. Yuan-Jie followed Rayleigh to the coating shop where Rayleigh was. Rayleigh was in charge of the coating, while Shachi was in charge of the drinks. After seeing Rayleigh leading someone back, Shachi asked Rayleigh curiously, "Rayleigh, who is this guy?" This way, in order to conceal his identity, Yuan-Jie is not his original appearance. If it is changed to the original appearance, Shachi may still know who Yuan-Jie is. After all, Yuan-Jie's billions of rewards are hanging there. Shachi is also very interested in these things. He is the Yuan-Jie I often mention to you. Riley explained this time. Is he Yuan-Jie? Shachi's face was full of suspicion at this time. Because this is not the same person on the reward order. Shachi said so. Rayleigh then remembered that it was the same when he met Yuan-Jie, and he also remembered that Yuan-Jie is not what he used to be now. 54. Play the role of St. Charles Rose. Therefore, at this time, Rayleigh also hurriedly said to Yuan-Jie, "Yuan-Jie, Shachi is not an outsider. Are you showing your original appearance?" Hearing this, Yuan-Jie just remembered, and then he immediately returned to his original appearance. After seeing this, Shachi was also amazed. Because he did not expect Yuan-Jie to have such an ability. Of course, he also suddenly understood at this time. Although Yuan-Jie has already come to the Chambord Islands. But no one has seen this guy at all, so that's the reason. "Little guy, is this the power of a devil fruit?" Shachi asked very curiously. Yuan-Jie didn't hide it at this time, because he knew that this Shachi was not an outsider. "This is the ability to imitate the fruit. I use the power of imitating the fruit." After saying this, Yuan-Jie at this time added to Shachi, "I hope you will keep this matter a secret for me. After all, I still want to stay on the Chambord Islands for a while." "Little guy, don't worry, I'll keep it a secret for you," Shachi promised at this time. Soon, Shachi found out that Yuan-Jie was carrying a bag. In this regard, Shachi couldn't help but become curious again. "What's behind you?" After being asked by Shachi, Yuan-Jie remembered that there was still a heavenly dragon in his back bag. Yuan-Jie immediately put down the bag behind him. Then he got St. Charles Rose out. Yuan-Jie didn't want this guy to die so cheaply. When the person in the bag got it out, Shachi, a guy who has seen the world, is also surprised at this time. "Dragon people. This Yuan-Jie actually caught a Tianlong man. This guy is so brave. Isn't this declaring war head-on with the world government?" But Shachi soon realized that the other party seemed to be able to change his appearance. Even if the Tianlong people were caught, the government of this world would want to go to Yuan-Jie's head. After thinking of this, Shachi also breathed a sigh of relief. However, at this time, Shachi asked curiously, "Why did you arrest this Tianlong man? This guy is really arrogant. I want to punish this guy," Yuan-Jie said lightly at this time. Yuan-Jie really couldn't bear the actions of these Tianlong people. Yuan-Jie has already thought about it. He must let this guy write a review letter, and also punish this person properly. Hearing this, Shachi didn't know what to say at this time. "Yuan-Jie, I haven't had the wine you made for a long time, I miss it so much. You kid, I don't know where you have been all these years, you can't find anyone, and you don't come to see the old man." Quote. At this time, Rayleigh said to Yuan-Jie in a bad mood. When Yuan-Jie heard this, he didn't know what to say at this time. If he didn't know the plot, Yuan-Jie would not have thought that Rayleigh would live in such a place. "Okay, if you don't have anything to do, give me wine as soon as possible, and then we will catch up with the old days," Riley urged Yuan-Jie at this time. Hearing this, Yuan-Jie could only mutter in his heart at this time. "Even if you are going to make wine now, you can't drink it right away, and you will have to wait for a while." However, considering that the other party is an old man, Yuan-Jie had to go to wine. After the Olympic song Niangwang was over, at this time, Rayleigh asked Yuan-Jie with a serious face, "What about this guy? You know, this guy is a heavenly dragon. If you catch this guy, the world government will definitely not stop there, because if you catch a heavenly dragon, this is tantamount to beating the world government's face. If this guy disappears for too long, the whole world could be in chaos. Rayleigh analyzed Yuanj at this time. Riley's remarks are not alarmist. After all, the identity of this Tianlong person is not ordinary. In history, no one has ever caught the Tianlong people. Yuanjie is the first of its kind. Of course, even with such a disgraceful history, the world government would naturally keep such news private. If this time Yuanj captures the Tianlong people and is not known by other people, perhaps the world government will send the navy to look for it. Although St. Charles Rose is a heavenly dragon, he is not the ruler of the heavenly dragon. Therefore, there is no need to use all the power of the world government. Now people all over the world know this. If they can't find a Tianlong person, then their world government will be too shameless. Because this world government is the world government of the Tianlong people. Yuanjie was also very embarrassed at this time when Rayleigh said this. Because this is indeed his intention to neglect. Because he only thought of himself, but not other people. Therefore, this guy was kidnapped. However, at this time, Rayleigh asked Yuanjie, can you imitate this guy's appearance? In this regard, Yuanjie was also slightly taken aback, because he did not expect Rayleigh to ask such a question. However, this time Yuanjie nodded. Because he uses the imitation fruit, it is very simple to become the guy in front of him. After seeing Yuanjie nodding, Rayleigh at this time said to Yuanjie, if this is the case, you will become like this guy, then go to the world government to hold a message, and then find a reason to leave. If this is the case, the world government there should be no prosecution for this. Quote. After hearing Rayleigh's suggestion, Yuanjie feels very good. He thought it was much more than that. If you become like this guy, then you will have a lot of privileges. In this case, you can obtain devil fruits through many channels and methods. Although these guys like to collect devil fruits, these guys are very disdainful of devil fruits. After thinking of this, Yuanjie suddenly felt that it was an impulsive move to catch this guy. Of course, the only thing that made Yuanjie a little unacceptable was that this guy was too cowardly. Let Yuanjie simply dare not look directly. I fought for the devil fruit. Yuanjie said to himself in his heart at this time. Because Yuanjie has spanked this guy before. This is also considered to have touched each other. Therefore, Yuanjie's thoughts moved, and then he became the appearance of the other party. It's just that at this time, the only difference between Yuanjie and the other party is that his clothes are still the original clothes. Not their Draco-looking clothes that look like space suits. Therefore, Yuanjie decided to take off this guy's clothes. 55. Angrily scolding the red dog. Yuanjie couldn't accept such a stupid costume, and the most important thing was that he had to wear a hood. Yuangeji felt that there was something wrong with these Tianlong people. Isn't it hot because you dress like this? Moreover, wearing a hood, how can I breathe the freshest air? What you breathe is the air you have breathed, where can such air be fresh? Yuanjie really didn't know what to say about the dress of the Tianlong people at this time. Yuanjie then began to have a series of plans of his own. When I watched One Piece before, why didn't I think this imitation fruit had such a big effect? Yuanjie couldn't help muttering secretly in his heart. Yuanj, did you go away as soon as you came to see this old man? Seeing that Yuanjie immediately became fully armed when he heard his proposal, Rayleigh said angrily